Chapter 238. The talisman markings on the border of the mysterious ice realm are constantly moving. Strands of white fog-like matter float in the mysterious ice realm. As soon as Qin Yu's body comes into contact with those white fog-like matter, the part of his body that comes into contact with the white fog-like matter seems to be frozen and numb. Roar! With a lion roar, the extreme ice lion Shurexen pounces at Qin Yu like lightning. At the same time, the white fog-like matter around the extreme ice lion's body becomes very dense. Qin Yu moves his body and immediately avoids it. It can be so cold. Even though he avoids the extreme ice lion's attack, the white fog-like matter emitted by the extreme ice lion's body completely invades Qin Yu's body. Qin Yu's body can't help but tremble. At the same time, the energy of the sun nucleus in his dantian immediately runs through his whole body. The numbness is immediately dispelled. Suddenly a strong wind blows. Qin Yu's body immediately avoids it, but he still feels a burst of pain. A 3-inch long wound appears on Qin Yu's back, but it heals in just a short while. In just the blink of an eye. "Ha boy, you really have a treasure." The eyes of the 3 extreme ice lions brighten. Such a recovery ability is really too frightening. The extreme ice lions don't believe that anyone has such a strong body recovery ability. Perhaps even a super divine beast is not so powerful. Therefore, the 3 extreme ice lions firmly believe that the Zionist in front of them must have an extraordinary natural treasure. The treasure is ours. Second brother, third brother, don't hide it. The eldest extreme ice lion Shurexen says loudly. Yes, big brother. Bing and Zhan are also extremely excited. Qin Yu, on the other hand, stood in the center without moving. The 3 extreme ice lions open their mouths at the same time. The 3 sword blade alls fly out extremely fast, constantly rotating. At the same time, the 3 extreme ice lions also reach the limit of their speed. Like 3 heavy meteorites, they constantly dash around in the mysterious ice realm. The 3 sword blade alls and the 3 meteorite-like divine beasts keep attacking Qin Yu in this way in the mysterious ice realm. Is the defense really that strong? Qin Yu's body turns into a rainbow and directly rushes towards an extreme ice lion. He didn't dodge at all, and the extreme ice lion Zhan also didn't dodge at all. He couldn't wait for this to happen. Force met force with force. One was a small meteorite and the other was a large meteorite. In the violent collision, Qin Yu felt his internal organs shake violently. His body flew out involuntarily, and a line of blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. At the same time, the 3 sword edge alls and the other 2 extreme ice lions immediately attacked. With a roll of his body, Qin Yu continuously escapes from 2 extreme ice lions' sharp claws and a sword blade all. As for the other 2 sword blade alls, one pierces through his thigh and the other grazes his face. In just a short while, Qin Yu's injuries were all healed. I don't believe that your defense is that strong. Qin Yu turns into a rainbow light again, still crashing towards the extreme ice lion. Courting death. The extreme ice lion Bing isn't afraid at all. Like a heavy meteorite, it fiercely collides with Qin Yu. However, at this moment an angry roar of pain is heard. Big brother, third brother, this kid has an immortal weapon. Bloodstains appear on the extreme ice lion Bing's body. Part of its white armor has been pierced, but a bluish-white light flickers inside the extreme ice lion's body. The white armor is recovering at a visible speed, and in a short while, it becomes a complete armor. The 3 extreme ice lions look at Qin Yu with even more fervent eyes. Kid, you really have a lot of treasures. Not only do you have a spiritual treasure with amazing recovery power, but you also have an immortal weapon with amazing attack power. It actually broke our extreme ice armor and hurt my second brother. Shurexen says smilingly. Qin Yu frowns. At this point, Shurexen is still smiling. Obviously, he still has something up his sleeve. Moreover, the defense of the opponent's extreme ice armor is really strong, perhaps comparable to an immortal weapon. Most importantly, even if he tries his best to break the extreme ice armor, the mystic eyeball inside the extreme ice lion will automatically repair itself. At this moment, Qin Yu finally feels a headache. Kid, don't think that because you have a spiritual treasure with amazing recovery power, we can't do anything to you, Shurexin says with a faint smile. Seal characters and symbols begin to float out from the abdomens of the 3 extreme ice lions. Each seal character and symbol emits a strange light. These seal characters and symbols are very similar to the ones on the boundary of the extreme ice realm. As the seal characters and symbols float into the boundary of the extreme ice realm, suddenly all the seal characters and symbols shine brightly. At the same time, the density of the white mist in the extreme ice realm increases greatly, almost filling the entire extreme ice realm. Numbness. The white mist is really too cold. Once it invades Qin Yu's body, the parts it invades are immediately frozen and numb. Qin Yu's star power has just offset the invading white mist, but even more white mist wraps around Qin Yu's body. Puchi. A sword edge all pierces Qin Yu's abdomen. Originally, Qin Yu could dodge it, but because his body is too numb, his speed naturally decreases. The sword edge all is too fast, so Qin Yu can't dodge it. Haha. Good die. The extreme ice lion Shurexion's sharp claws directly grabs Qin Yu's head. Qin Yu has no doubt about the sharpness of the claws. Generally, the sharpness of the claws and teeth of the divine beasts increases with the increase of their power. The teeth and claws of the extreme ice lions are probably close to immortal weapons. The 3 brothers Shurexin, Shurjan and Shurbing attack Qin Yu one after another. The shadows of the sword edge all are constantly flashing. You should be satisfied. Qin Yu's calm voice rises in the extreme ice realm. From the beginning until now, Qin Yu hasn't killed them. That's because Qin Yu has long regarded these 3 extreme ice lions as his spiritual beasts, so he also wants to see how powerful his future spiritual beasts are. Now it seems that it's really surprising. Qin Yu is floating in the middle. Hearing Qin Yu's words, the 3 extreme ice lions can't help being startled. Kid, don't talk big. I really don't believe that a little self-cultivator like you, who hasn't even reached the Dashang stage, can do anything to us. Shurexin doesn't care at all. Really? Qin Yu smiles faintly. At the same time, his body turns into a purple fireball. The Lord of Black Flame's ring. Heavenly fire field. Qin Yu doesn't know how much flame energy is stored in the Lord of Black Flame's ring, but Qin Yu knows one thing. With his current strength, it's simply impossible for him to display the true power of the Lord of Black Flame's ring. Under the cover of the heavenly fire field, the white mist of the extreme ice realm can't affect Qin Yu at all. In terms of speed, Qin Yu is not as fast as the sword edge all. But compared with the extreme ice lion, Qin Yu's speed is still faster, so Qin Yu's purple fireball hits the extreme ice lion Shurjan. Surrounded by the heavenly fire, the extreme ice realm can't affect Qin Yu at all. On the contrary, when the heavenly fire touches the extreme ice lion feels extremely uncomfortable. Even with the defense of the extreme ice armor, the heavenly fire still reduces his attack power sharply. Aren't you very strong? Qin Yu sneers. The heavenly fire around him expands a lot in an instant, almost covering the whole extreme ice lion's body. On the surface of the extreme ice lion's body, not only its body, but also its head, eyes, and tail are completely protected by a layer of white armor. The mystic eyeball is really amazing. It can condense the extreme ice armor. And it can condense anywhere. And it won't even affect the extreme ice lion's attack. The heavenly fire touches the extreme ice armor. One is extremely hot, the other is extremely cold. They melt each other. At this moment, Qin Yu's fists are covered with the heavenly fire. Qin Yu's fists are like phantoms, smashing heavily on the extreme ice lion's face. At this moment, the other 2 extreme ice lions seem to be stunned by the heavenly fire on the surface of Qin Yu's body. When Qin Yu starts to hit Shurjan, the other 2 extreme ice lions, Shurexin and Shurbing, come to their senses. They immediately roar and attack Qin Yu at the same time. Between Qin Yu and Shi Zhan, Qin Yu is not affected by the extreme ice realm because of the heavenly fire. But because the extreme ice lion is covered by the heavenly fire, the extreme ice realm doesn't have any effect at all. Instead, its attack power decreases. With Qin Yu's strong body, it's not difficult to deal with a divine beast at the Deshang stage. In the blink of an eye, Shi Zhan is knocked out by hundreds of heavy punches. Okay, first one. Qin Yu waved his hand and a black rope directly tied up the extreme ice lion. Then Qin Yu directly threw the extreme ice lion into the Qingyu Immortal Mansion. Qin Yu is the owner of the Qingyu Immortal Mansion. Of course he can put others in at will. Of course the premise is that they don't resist. At this moment, the extreme ice lion Shi Zhan is dizzy from hundreds of heavy punches and tied up. How can he resist? In the Qingyu Immortal Mansion, even a golden immortal would have to listen to Qin Yu's orders. Where's my third brother? Shi Bing and Shi Exin roared almost at the same time. They saw with their own eyes that their third brother disappeared so abruptly. It's really unbelievable. Your third brother. Qin Yu had a startled expression. Soon after he started to laugh. I'm waiting for you all at a very wonderful place. Qin Yu rushed to one of the extreme ice lions again. This time his target is Shi Bing, the Lord of Black Flame's ring, heavenly fire domain. When the heavenly fire touched his body, although Shi Bing is protected by the extreme ice armor, he still feels impatient. Extreme ice lions hate fire the most. The same move. Heavy punches. Shi Bing also saw that his third brother was knocked out and then tied up by this move. Therefore, he crazily attacked Qin Yu with his sharp claws. Attack. Qin Yu couldn't ask for more. The sharp claws hurt him, but they healed in the blink of an eye. But Shi Bing's injuries are getting worse and worse. Go away. The eldest extreme ice lion Shi Exin rushed up. At this moment, Qin Yu turned He Yuan into a rope and was about to tie Shi Bing up. Noticing that the extreme ice lion Shi Exin is rushing at him, Qin Yu just smiled. The Lord of Black Flame's ring. Gravity domain. Shi Exin, who had just rushed over, seemed to be suddenly hit by a big mountain. His whole body suddenly sank down. Naturally, he didn't attack Qin Yu. Qin Yu leisurely tied up Shi Bing and directly threw him into the Qingyu Immortal Mansion. You're the only one left. Qin Yu looked at Shi Exin and smiled. Chapter 239. What did you do to my second brother and third brother? Did you kill them? If you killed them, where are their bodies? Tell me, where did you take them? At this moment, Shi Exin is extremely furious. He has already turned into his human form. The three brothers were born of the same parents. They cultivated together and survived together in the chaotic astral ocean. The three brothers were lucky enough to pass the 9 to heaven tribulation and reach the Deshang stage. They thought that ascension was not far away. However, at this time, they met a Zionist who pretended to be a pig to eat the tiger. A Zionist who hasn't even reached the Deshang stage completely defeated the three brothers. The three brothers are also divine beasts. Moreover, they have a low-grade immortal weapon, the sword edge all, and a natural spiritual treasure, the mystic eyeball. However, they were still defeated by a Zionist who hasn't even reached the Deshang stage. Your second brother and third brother. Oh, don't worry. They didn't die. Qin Yu says leisurely at this moment. Since Shi Bing and Shi Zhan were thrown into the Qingyu Immortal Mansion by Qin Yu, the mysterious ice realm has gradually begun to melt because it is no longer maintained by the mystic eyeball. The white mist also slowly disappears. With only Shi Exin left, Qin Yu will definitely capture him easily. Not dead, then where are they? Shi Exin asks anxiously. It's very simple. You surrender and I'll send you to see them. Qin Yu says with a faint smile. Shi Exin's face turns cold. Zionist, do you think I'm stupid? Not resisting and waiting to be captured. You said that you didn't kill my two brothers. Is it true? Who knows if you're lying to me? Shi Exin. Do I still need to lie to you? Qin Yu asks back. Shi Exin is startled. Recalling Qin Yu's power, a Zionist who hasn't even reached the Dashang stage, can control the heavenly fire that even sky immortals are afraid of. If the three divine beasts didn't have the mystic eyeball, they could condense the mysterious ice armor. Perhaps the heavenly fire alone would have been enough to kill the three of them. Not only the heavenly fire, but also the spiritual treasure with amazing recovery effect and the immortal weapon that once broke the defense of the mysterious ice armor. And that sudden pressure at the end. All of this makes Shurexen feel that the Zionist in front of him is so mysterious. Not to mention other things, just the fact that he could control the heavenly fire and had a body that could be said to be immortal. With a speed that far exceeded his own, Shurexen had no way of escaping. Of course, this so-called immortal body was built on the foundation of not attacking the soul. If it was an expert like Zhong Ju, most likely, Qin Yu didn't even have the time to dodge before Qin Yu's head exploded and Qin Yu's soul was destroyed. At that time, no matter how amazing his recovery ability was, it would be useless. If one's soul was destroyed, he would definitely die. However, Shurexen did not have the ability to instantly destroy Qin Yu's soul. Yes, you don't need to lie to me. The three of us joined hands plus the mysterious ice realm, and you took two of my brothers. Now, I don't have the mysterious ice realm, and I don't have any brothers to help me. I can't even escape. Shurexen smiled bitterly. All right, I promise you. Shurexen looked at Qin Yu. I hope you won't lie to me and let me see my two younger brothers. Don't worry, of course I won't lie to you. Qin Yu waved his hand, and a black rope automatically lengthened, directly binding Shurexen tightly. After all, this He Yuan was a superb spiritual weapon, and it was ever-changing. Even with Shurexen's strength, it was impossible for him to break it. Moreover, this rope had many loops. Even if he desperately broke one loop, there would be more loops, and the He Yuan could make more loops. Shurexen did not resist, letting Qin Yu tie him up with the rope. Go see your two brothers. With a thought, Qin Yu also throws Shurexen into the Qingyu Immortal Mansion. The three mythological beasts were taken into the Qingyu Immortal Mansion by Qin Yu. Naturally, the original ice area began to dissipate. Gradually, the condensed water surface was broken by the water pressure, and the area returned to its original appearance of monstrous waves. Qin Yu had a trace of a smile on his face. He was indeed very happy at the moment. At the beginning, he had obtained 4 spiritual beast collars in the treasure pavilion. One of them had been taken into the Ink Kylan, and there were still 3 spiritual beast collars left. Now he could give them to the 3 extreme ice lions. Master. The Ink Kylan quickly flew to Qin Yu's side. Master, has the enemy been dealt with? Yes, Qin Yu said with a smile. Ink Kylan, let's go into the Immortal Mansion. When he had taken the Ink Kylan, he had also taken it into the Qingyu Immortal Mansion. Therefore, the Ink Kylan still knew about the existence of the Qingyu Immortal Mansion. Qin Yu was the master of the Qingyu Immortal Mansion, so he could let others enter the mansion. However, if he wanted to enter the Qingyu Immortal Mansion himself, he had to take it out and put it somewhere. Only then could he enter it. If he kept it in his body, he could not enter it himself. This Qingyu Immortal Mansion was very mysterious. Its size could change, just like a spiritual weapon or an immortal weapon. However, to some extent, this Qingyu Immortal Mansion could indeed be regarded as an immortal weapon. It was just that the materials used to make it were too amazing. He shrunk the Qingyu Immortal Mansion and put it in a corner at the bottom of the sea. At the same time, he controlled the illusion restriction to make the Qingyu Immortal Mansion look like a reef. Qin Yu's body turned into a wisp of blue smoke and directly entered the Qingyu Immortal Mansion. As for the Ink Kylan, Qin Yu had already sent it in before the Qingyu Immortal Mansion was taken out. In the garden of the Qingyu Immortal Mansion, Qin Yu was sitting on a chair made of elemental holy rock, looking at the 3 stupefied extreme ice lions in front of him. The Ink Kylan was also laughing mischievously on the side. Of course, the Ink Kylan knew what the 3 extreme ice lions were thinking at the moment. When he first came in, He was also frightened by this immortal mansion, which was made of elemental holy rock. Even the total amount of elemental holy rock in the Devil Pang Island's mines could not compare to the amount of elemental holy rock in this immortal mansion. Not to mention that this immortal mansion was made of a whole, huge piece of elemental holy rock. The three brothers Shurexin, Bing and Zhan looked at each other, their eyes full of astonishment. They have seen elemental holy rock before. That was when they killed an 8th Tribulation Loose practitioner and got a piece of elemental holy rock, a low-grade one at that. These three extreme ice lions, who have lived in the chaotic astral ocean for a long time, knew very well how precious elemental holy rock is in the chaotic astral ocean. Good heavens, how come there are so many elemental holy rock here? The three Shur brothers were completely shocked. On the side, Qin Yu was not in a hurry. He just drank the immortal dew spring water. On the Qianlong continent, some people from the countryside went to the capital and other big cities. Most of their expressions were similar to the three Shur brothers. They were all so shocked and in disbelief. The three of you, Qin Yu spoke. The three Shur brothers woke up. The eldest Shurexin said first. In the mysterious ice realm, you already surprised us three brothers very much. I didn't expect that what you showed was still not all of you. This immortal mansion. Where did you get so many elemental holy rock? No, every part of this place is like a whole. It should be, it can't be. Shurexin immediately crouched on the ground and carefully observed. A piece. Could it be that the whole immortal mansion is made of a huge piece of elemental holy rock? Shurexin just felt dizzy. This was really too amazing. Bing and Zhan were also very shocked. Such a huge piece of elemental holy rock. Where is it? No, how can there be such a huge piece of elemental holy rock? This is elemental holy ore. It's just that the quality of this elemental holy ore is very good. You can hardly see any impurities. Qin Yu said with a smile. The three Shur brothers were Deshang stage divine beasts after all. After a while they calmed down. What did you catch us for? Zhan was the first to roar. Qin Yu was surprised. He seemed to have told them the reason. Shurexin glared at Zhan, who was the least calm of the three brothers. Then he said to Qin Yu, I know what you want to do. But as a divine beast, first of all, I have no freedom. Second, I really can't accept that a divine beast like me has to become a human's mount. Mount? You can't kill me. Zhan also roared. That Bing didn't finish his words. But his eyes showed that he had the same idea as his two brothers. Qin Yu smiled bitterly. It's really hard to make divine beasts into mounts. I've already conquered them with force. But Qin Yu felt very helpless in his heart. When he first accepted the Ink Qilin as a divine beast, he made an agreement to let it regain its freedom after Qin Yu ascended. He only asked the Ink Qilin to protect Qin Yu's family. That's why the Ink Qilin was willing to be Qin Yu's mount. It's really hard to subdue the three divine beasts in front of him. You really don't want to? Qin Yu asked again. But this time there was no smile on Qin Yu's face. He looked a lot colder. The three extreme ice lions shook their heads firmly. Divine beasts are nobler than humans. It's impossible for us to be a human's mount. Zhan said proudly. In the eyes of divine beasts, they were nobler than humans. Of course, in the eyes of humans, divine beasts were demonic beasts with too much talent. Although they were terrifyingly strong. Deep down they thought that humans were the wisest of all things. Even if you kill us, it's impossible, Shurexin also said. Unyielding in the face of death. The Ink Qilin said to Qin Yu, Master, it's really hard to make divine beasts into mounts, unless you can make them think that you're nobler than them from the bottom of their hearts. Only then will they be willing to be your mounts. Although you've conquered them with your strength, it's very difficult for them to think that you're nobler than them. Looking at the three divine beasts' eyes, Qin Yu knew that it was useless to say anything more. Well, since you're not willing, you can stay in a separate courtyard in the Qingyu Immortal Mansion. But your range of activity is limited to that courtyard. With an intention, Qin Yu brought the three great divine beasts into a courtyard house. The entire Qing Yu immortal mansion was covered with restrictions. Anything could be transported to any part of the mansion. Of course. The premise was that the other party couldn't resist the restrictions. If an immortal emperor were to come, given Qin Yu's strength, he would probably be able to break the restrictions directly. But it's simply impossible for these three extreme ice lions to break the restrictions set up by immortal Emperor Ni Yang. After letting the three extreme ice lions stay in the Qing Yu immortal mansion, Qin Yu also left the Ink Qilin in the Qing Yu immortal mansion. Riding on a middle-grade immortal weapon, he rushed towards the northeast at the fastest speed possible. Time flies. In the blink of an eye, a month has passed. Qin Yu, who has reached the middle Dujia stage, relied on his current body and a middle-grade immortal sword. His flying speed has reached an extremely astonishing level, tens of times faster than when he was in the early core stage. Big brother, where are you now? Mixed hairy bird, and I have just flown past Black Grass Island. Ho Fei sent a message to Qin Yu through his transmitter. Qin Yu swept it with his spiritual sense. Recalling the map of the chaotic astral ocean, he was overjoyed. Fei Xiaohei, I'm about to reach green-robed Ancestors Island. We should meet again in a day. Qin Yu was very excited at the moment. Since that day when he went to the chaotic astral ocean to explore the Nine Swords immortal mansion with Li Er, he never saw Xiaohei and Fei. Big brother, after crossing the 9 to heaven tribulation, mixed hairy bird, and I can completely change into human form. Do you know what our human form looks like? Hee, it's not the same as our original appearance. Ho Fei said to Qin Yu through sound transmission. Qin Yu was also guessing. After crossing the 9 to heaven tribulation, divine beasts can have a human form. This human form is not an illusion but a real human form. This human form is the appearance of divine beasts. Of course they can change their appearance, but the most basic appearance is still that of a human form. After a day, Qin Yu were rushing at top speed. They often used their transmitters to know each other's route. Therefore, Qin Yu's spiritual sense was the first to discover his two brothers. In just a short while after Qin Yu's holy sense discovers them, Ho Fei and He Yu arrive in front of him. Just by relying on their aura, Qin Yu could tell who the two were. Ho Fei was wearing a green battle armor. He often had a smile on his face, and his eyes were squinted from smiling. His whole body was slightly thin, looking like a 20-year-old youth. Kuro, wearing a black battle armor, covered with feather-like scales. His body was slightly thin, like a 15 or 16-year-old youth, but there was a trace of coldness on his body. Haha, big brother, my human form is very handsome, isn't it? The mixed hairy bird's human form is unexpectedly like a youth who hasn't grown up yet. Look, red lips and white teeth, tiskte. Ho Fei said with a laugh. Kuro frowned, taking a look at Ho Fei. 2 words popped out of his mouth. Shut up. Immediately, Kuro looked at Qin Yu. His eyes filled with unconcealable excitement. After all, the two brothers had been separated for a long time. Big brother. Kuro only said 2 words. Qin Yu was very excited at the moment. Good, it's really very good. Qin Yu suddenly thought of his own Qing Yu immortal mansion. His 2 brothers had not seen it yet, so he immediately said, Fei Xiaohei, I obtained an immortal mansion in the 9 Swords immortal mansion. I'll show you around. After saying that, Qin Yu pulled his 2 brothers into the chaotic astral ocean. Chapter 240. Clouds and mist drifted in the Qing Yu immortal mansion. In the garden of the east courtyard, Qin Yu and his 2 brothers were gathered here. Qin Yu was talking about where he got this Qing Yu immortal mansion and some of its characteristics. Big brother, this is the immortal mansion you got? Ho Fei opened his eyes wide, looking at the perfectly round Qing Yu immortal mansion with a face full of disbelief. Xiao Hei at the side also had a face full of shock. Oh, big brother, I didn't expect that Nine Swords Immortal Mansion to have so many treasures. If I had known earlier, I would have gone to rob it. Ho Fei seemed slightly disappointed. And Kuro at the side had a callous look. Obviously, he didn't care about what Ho Fei said at all. Kuro looked at Chinyu and said, "Big brother, what did you encounter in the Nine Swords Immortal Mansion? Can you tell us?" Immediately Ho Fei also looked at Chinyu. "Okay, then I'll tell you in detail." That day, after talking for almost an hour, Chinyu finally completely talked about what he encountered in the Nine Swords Immortal Mansion as well as the fights and schemes between the various experts. In I Young Realm. Big brother, the Nine Swords Immortal Mansion already has so many treasures. The Nai Young Realm must have even more things. Big brother, don't you have a map? Us three brothers will join hands to rob it and bring it all back. How about it? Ho Fei said excitedly. Kuro said coldly, "Go, do you want to die?" "What did you say?" Ho Fei immediately got angry. "Monkey, didn't you hear what Big Brother said? Even the Nine Swords Immortal Mansion is so dangerous. The Nai Young Realm is 10,000 times more precious than the Nine Swords Immortal Mansion. The danger must also be who knows how many times higher. And Big Brother said that only with at least the strength of a Deshang stage Xiaoxianist can you reach the lowest threshold to enter the Nai Young Realm." Kuro said coldly. Ho Fei said confidently, "Mixed Hairbird, now that we are in the late stage of Tribulation Passing Stage, we can easily deal with Deshang stage cultivators. It can be easily dealt with, but that is only the lowest threshold to enter Nai Yang's realm. I don't think that those who have just reached the lowest threshold to enter Nai Yang's realm would be able to obtain many treasures. Being able to preserve one's life would already be considered not bad." Kuro always attacked Ho Fei. "You." Ho Fei was so angry that he was speechless. Chinyu says with a smile, all right. Xiao Hei's words made a lot of sense. I had also thought about it carefully. The words that Immortal Emperor Nai Yang left for me in the Lord of Black Flames ring only meant that I had to at least attain the strength of a Deshang stage immortal cultivator to be able to enter Nai Yang's realm. However, that was merely the test to enter Nai Yang's realm. Presumably, there were even more dangerous tests in Nai Yang's realm. Perhaps the strength of a Deshang stage cultivator was still not enough. Moreover, I think it's impossible for a super-immortal emperor's lair to not have some terrifyingly powerful restrictions. Therefore, we'd better go in together with some experts. We'll wait for those 12th Tribulation loose immortals and loose devils to charge at the front while we'll be at the back. If we can get treasures, we'll get them. If we can't, it doesn't mean anything. After all, our current strength is still shallow. Having the Qingyu Immortal Mansion can actually be considered very extraordinary. Qingyu knew himself very well. After all, he wasn't even a celestial immortal or celestial devil. In the immortal world, experts who could possess an immortal mansion like the Qingyu Immortal Mansion were generally experts who had reached the profound immortal level. Even if they couldn't catch up to Immortal Emperor Nai Yang, they would at least be level 1 profound immortals. Ho Fei pondered for a moment, then also nodded. What Big Brother said makes sense. That Nai Yang's realm is definitely very dangerous. Let those 12th Tribulation loose immortals charge at the front. Haha. We'll take advantage of them at the back. Ho Fei began to laugh strangely. "Fei Xiaohei, at that time Uncle Lon took you to a mysterious place to undergo special training. It's only been a few years, but you've already passed the 9 to heaven tribulation. Tell me, what kind of mysterious place could be so formidable?" Qin Yu had always been very curious about this. At that time they had only reached the Dongshu stage, but now they've unexpectedly directly surpassed the Kongming stage and even passed the 9 heaven tribulation to reach the late stage of the Dujia stage. If they were ordinary Xiaoxianists, they would need at least several thousand years. But they only had about 2 years. Their power can be improved rapidly, but can their soul cultivation also be improved so quickly? Ho Fei and Kuro also frown. "Big brother, to tell you the truth, we also don't know where that place is," Kuro says. Seeing the expressions of Ho Fei and Kuro, Qin Yu understands that his two brothers really don't know where that place is. At that time, Uncle Lon took us and directly teleported. After the teleportation, we arrived at a mysterious place, a place we've never heard of. The spiritual energy there is 100 times richer than the outside world. We cultivated there for more than 100 years until we reached the middle stage of the Dujia stage. Then Uncle Lon took us away from there and put us on a small island in the sea controlled by the Stella Pavilion, so that we could wait for our tribulation. After the tribulation, we came directly from the island to find you. Ho Fei says carefully. More than 100 years. Qin Yu finds it hard to believe. When I entered the Nine Swords Immortal Mansion, you went with Uncle Lon. How long has it been? Even now it's only been 2 years. Qin Yu simply can't figure it out. Ho Fei and Kuro look at each other, their eyes full of helplessness. We also don't know. We also have doubts in our hearts. However, since we left that mysterious place, we never saw Uncle Lon again. Uncle Lon also seems to have disappeared from the world. On that island, we waited for the heavenly tribulation. After the 9 from 9 to heaven tribulation, we came to find you. Listening to Ho Fei and Kuro's narration, Qin Yu has doubts in his heart. There is a mysterious place where the spiritual energy is 100 times richer than other places. Moreover, one can cultivate in that place for more than 100 years, but Qin Yu has only spent 1 or 2 years there. In the end, Qin Yu, Ho Fei and Kuro still don't know where that mysterious place is. Qin Yu and the others only judge that the time of that mysterious place is different from the outside world, and the spiritual energy is also different. They estimate that it is a special secret place. Mount Spirit Beast. Haha, big brother, you can't subdue them. Humph, I'll do it. After hearing Qin Yu talk about spirit beasts and spirit beast collars, Ho Fei volunteered to subdue those 3 extreme ice lions. Well, let's see what you can do. Qin Yu's mind moves, and the 3 extreme ice lions directly move from the courtyard to the front of Qin Yu and his brothers. After seeing these 3 extreme ice lions, Ho Fei and Kuro can't help but smile at each other. How long have you been cultivating? Kuro says indifferently. The 3 brothers Shurexin, Shurbing and Shurjan immediately feel the faint pressure on Kuro and Ho Fei's body. That is the pressure unique to high-level spirit beasts. Spirit beasts are very arrogant. They are arrogant to low-level spirit beasts, but they are instinctively afraid of high-level spirit beasts. More than 30,000 years. Shurexin answers first. Qin Yu is slightly surprised that it took them so long to reach the Dashang stage. Extreme Ice Lions, the techniques you've been cultivating should be the most common and basic ones. No wonder you've been cultivating so slowly even with spirit treasures. Ho Fei says indifferently. Right, extreme ice lions are mid-level spirit beasts. They don't have hereditary memories. The eyes of the 3 extreme ice lions brighten. They know very well that high-level spirit beasts and super spirit beasts all have hereditary memories. Hereditary memories contain countless techniques and secret methods, which can be regarded as a huge treasure. This is also the reason why high-level spirit beasts and super spirit beasts far surpass mid-level and low-level spirit beasts. The monkey and I are of a higher level than you. You should feel it. In short, if you become our spirit beast mounts, the monkey and I can pass on a powerful cultivation technique to you. If you don't, you can imagine the consequences. Kuro says in an icy voice. Ho Fei also looks at the 3 extreme ice lions and says with a sigh, "These 3 extreme ice lions are really lucky. We're willing. Of course we're willing." Shurexan and his brothers say hurriedly. There is a strict hierarchy among spirit beasts. They have also sensed the level of spirit beasts Ho Fei and Kuro, which is definitely higher than theirs. They naturally have no complaints if they become Ho Fei and Kuro as mounts. Moreover, they can also obtain techniques and secret methods from the other party. Hereditary memories are a huge treasure. There are so many techniques and secret methods that it's frightening. Not only do they belong to their clan, there are also many other techniques. Any one of them is much better than what the extreme ice lions are cultivating. Well, how about this? The eldest of the 3 extreme ice lions will be my big brother's spirit beast mount, The second brother will be my spirit beast mount, and the third brother will be the spirit beast mount of the mixed hairy bird. Ho Fei says directly, "Big brother. You recognize a human as your big brother." Shi Zhan is the first to exclaim. Spirit beasts are arrogant, not to mention spirit beasts with hereditary memories. They are even more arrogant. To make two spirit beasts with hereditary memories recognize a human as their big brother is probably hard to come by in a million years. What, do you have a problem? Ho Fei's eyes flash with a cold light. Kuro's eyes also flash with a trace of killing intent. Qin Yu is the closest person to Kuro. These three extreme ice lions look down on his big brother. How can Kuro not be angry? No problem, of course not. It's just that we didn't expect him to be your spirit beast. If we had known, we wouldn't have resisted. What Shi Xian said is true. Even two spirit beasts with hereditary memories recognize a human as their big brother. What's the big deal about them being mounts? Middle-grade spirit beasts, high-grade spirit beasts. Although it's only one level, the difference in status is unknown. After all, this one level means that high-grade spirit beasts have hereditary memories, but they don't. A few days later, Qin Yu, Ho Fei, and Kuro are each riding an extreme ice lion, leisurely riding the wind and breaking the waves towards the northeast. Qin Yu is wearing a black armor made by He Yuan. He is riding an extreme ice lion, Shi Xian, which is snow-white and covered by a layer of extreme ice armor. His mount is white while Qin Yu's is black. It's really distinctive. Ho Fei is wearing the water elemental armor, which was automatically refined by Ho Fei when he reached the passing calamity stage. It's the special armor of a spirit beast, the fire-eyed water ape. His mount, the extreme ice lion Shi Bing, is also wearing the extreme ice armor. Kuro is wearing the black scale armor, which was naturally formed by the extremely hard feathers on his body after he reached the passing calamity stage. His mount, the extreme ice lion Shi Zhan. Similar to Qin Yu, the master is wearing a black armor and the mount is snow-white. The three brothers are talking and laughing along the way, rushing through the wind and breaking the waves. "Big brother, what's the matter?" Ho Fei immediately asks when he sees Qin Yu frown. At this moment, Qin Yu is holding a transmitter. He has just received a message from the manager of the Stellar Tower, Yezhong, and learned of something that has made him very worried. Devil Path experts attacked the Stellar Tower not long ago. All the members of the Stellar Tower are holed up inside, relying only on the Great Heavenly Cycle stellar formation for defense. Fortunately, the formation has been modified by Uncle Lon and is very powerful. Those loose devil experts couldn't do anything to the Stellar Tower and finally left. Qin Yu says slowly, "It's fine if they left. Big brother, why are you still unhappy?" Something's wrong. Ho Fei also knows that something is wrong. Kuro also knows what Qin Yu is worried about. Devil Path experts mostly don't care. I'm worried that they will go directly to the Qin dynasty and threaten my family. Even though father and the others have already entered the Stellar Tower. But my second brother, his princes and princesses, and many collateral descendants of the Qin clan. Qin Yu's originally happy and relaxed mood is completely destroyed. Without thinking too much, Qin Yu immediately sends a message to the guardian who is protecting his second brother. "Guardian Yang, pass this message to my second brother right away. After a while, it is very likely that some experts will come to threaten my second brother. If they really threaten my second brother, then tell him to say directly that it was Senior Lon who told him to give that heaven-sundering diagram to the newcomer. Remember, don't fight them head-on. The loss of the heaven-sundering diagram is nothing to Qin Yu, but in any case, nothing must happen to his second brother's family. Moreover, his second brother is the emperor of the Qin dynasty after all." "Yes, Tower Master." Guardian Yang immediately responds. Qin Zhang is not powerful enough at the moment, so he cannot use his transmitter either. Therefore, he can only send a message through the guardian who is protecting him. This Guardian Yang is an expert of Qin Yu's Stellar Tower and has now reached the late Dongshu stage. Devil Path experts do whatever they want. They basically don't care about killing people. These Devil Path experts haven't suffered losses at the hands of Uncle Lon, so perhaps they won't care about Uncle Lon. Uncle Lon isn't here right now, so I can't go back. Qin Yu becomes anxious in his heart. I hope nothing bad will happen. Qin Yu can only hope in his heart. However, the real situation is even worse than Qin Yu thinks. Are Devil Path loose devils really the only ones who want to fight for the heaven-sundering diagram? Qin Yu simply does not know that at the moment most of the top experts of the mortal world like Wu Kongxue have already gathered in the capital of the Qin dynasty on the Qianlong continent. Chapter 241. Wu Kongxue leads Fire Devil, Wu Hei and Dame Lian Yu, 3 11th Tribulation Loose Devils, and nearly 20 10th Tribulation, 9th Tribulation and 8th Tribulation Loose Devils. Such a large army majestically flies out from the bottom of the ocean, then heads straight for the Qianlong continent in the north. These 20 people could be regarded as the peak strength of the demonic Tao. Any one of them could easily destroy the 3 mortal dynasties. Senior Wu Kongxue, that defensive formation of the Stellar Tower. Dame Lian Yu says to Wu Kongxue with a frown. Wu Kongxue is also shocked. This time they are going to the Stellar Tower to rob Qin Yu of his treasures, but the defensive formation of the Stellar Tower is really too powerful. Even the joint attack of several experts such as Wu Kongxue cannot shake the great heavenly stellar formation, which has been modified by Uncle Lon. Seems the rumor is probably true. That loose practitioner behind the Stellar Tower is indeed very powerful. At least I've never seen anyone who can compare with him in the ability to set up formations. Wu Kongxue says solemnly. Fire Devil, Dame Lian Yu and Wu Hei all have heavy hearts. But his ability to set up formations doesn't mean his own power is very strong. Only a few people in the entire chaotic astral ocean can defeat me. Unless his true form is a super divine beast, why would I be afraid of him? Wu Kongxue is full of confidence again. The tense expressions on the faces of Dame Lian Yu and the other 2 relax. The more than 10 loose devil experts behind them also relax. Does being able to set up formations mean that his own power is very strong? According to our information, that Qin Yu's experience is really legendary. But there's one thing, he values his family very much. Now we can go to the Qianlong continent's Qin dynasty and directly capture his family to threaten Qin Yu into giving up the heaven-sundering diagram. Won't that work? Dame Lian Yu says crisply. This plan was set up by Dame Lian Yu. Given the power of the Devil Path experts, it is relatively easy for them to find information about Qin Yu. Even though the Stellar Tower is several million li away from the Qianlong continent, for these experts, it takes them less than half a day to cross this distance and they all enter the Qianlong continent. They fly in a straight line. Their destination, the capital of the Qin dynasty. Not far behind Wu Kongxue, a faint silhouette appears. It is none other than Reverend Ming Liang. Reverend Ming Liang's star-pointing art was also a powerful cultivation technique from the immortal world. It was extremely peculiar. Once he started cultivating it, the energy in his body would become extremely pure and restrained. When he attacked, he would also gather it at a single point. Thanks to this technique, Reverend Ming Liang is now on par with Wu Kongxue. Furthermore, after cultivating this technique, ordinary experts of the same level would not be able to discover his existence. Sure enough, as I expected, that Senior Lon is indeed very powerful. Back then, even Shan Chu and the others were unable to resist that defensive formation. Now, even the joint attack of Wu Kongxue and the other 3 can easily resist it. Humph humph Wu Kongxue, go ahead and do whatever you want. When that Senior Lon comes out, it will be too late for you to cry. Reverend Ming Liang sneered indifferently. Then Senior Lon. Could he be an immortal who descended from the immortal realm? A golden immortal or a profound immortal? Reverend Ming Liang secretly guessed in his heart. At the same time, Reverend Ming Liang took out a transmitter. Junior brother, you lead everybody to the Qianlong continent quickly. Those Xiaomo experts have already arrived there. According to my estimation, They have most likely gone to the capital of the Qin dynasty to capture Qin Yu's relatives. The mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. Reverend Ming Liang and the others want to be the oriole, but can they really be the oriole? The wilderness is divided into the outer area, the inner area and the core area. In the outer area, there are only some basic Zuyuists. In the inner area, there are only the backbone Zuyuists. Only the core area is the strongest power in the wilderness on the Qianlong continent. In this area, there are even tens of thousands of loose demons. In the core area of the wilderness, there is a huge luxurious city. There are quite a few loose demon experts living in this city. The loose demon experts who can live in this city have at least reached the 6th tribulation stage. The mansion in the center of the city is the residence of the master of the core area of the wilderness. The master of the core area is a 12th tribulation loose demon called Yu Liang. All the attendants in the mansion know that not long ago Yu Liang left the wilderness with his 3 subordinates to handle some business and returned. The master of the core area, that is, the real king of the entire wilderness, Yu Liang, has had a change in temperament. He has become silent or perhaps gloomy. Yu Liang is playing with a wine cup in his hand. A shocking scene emerges in his mind. The master of the wilderness and his 3 subordinates joined forces to attack. What a terrifying power this is. Yu Liang believes that even the number 1 expert of the chaotic astral ocean, Zhongju, may not necessarily be able to take it. But that seemingly kind-hearted middle-aged man easily took it. Moreover, with a wave of his hand, the 4 experts fell flat on their faces. Too strong. They are simply not on the same level. 3 11th tribulation divine beasts plus me. Even though we joined forces, we still couldn't hurt them at all. Luckily the demon emperor of the demon world was reasonable and didn't force me. Yu Liang sighs. Yu Liang simply does not know that last time he led his subordinates to the stellar tower to seize the inkwash painting under the orders of the demon emperor of the demon world. Before that, Shan Chu and the other 3 experts of the Qingshu temple had just attacked the stellar tower. When Yu Liang and the others arrived, Uncle Lan was still in the stellar tower. With a wave of his hand, the 4 experts fell flat on their faces. The Grand Master of the wilderness immediately fled back in shame. No matter what, he no longer dares to have any ideas about the inkwash painting. Oh! Yu Liang turns his hand. A transmitter appears in his hand. A Xiaoma expert has come to the capital of the Qin dynasty. Yu Liang's eyes brighten. The one who sent him the message was one of his 3 subordinates, a divine beast called the 9-headed snake, Kong Chao. Kong Chao is the number 1 expert under Yu Liang. Even though he is an 11th tribulation expert, his soul is almost the same as Yu Liang's. After failing to seize the inkwash painting, Yu Liang learned from his painful experience and ordered Kong Chao to monitor everything in the Qin dynasty. As the master of the wilderness, he does not dare to seize the inkwash painting under the pressure of Uncle Lan, but if a loose immortal or loose devil were to seize the painting, he would be able to seize it from the loose immortal or loose devil experts. If the experts of the Chaos Era were to fight over the treasures from the hands of loose immortals and loose devils, that mysterious Senior Lan would most likely not be able to blame them. Kong Chao, remember, don't get into action no matter what. You must not harm anyone of the Qin clan either. As for those fellows from the Tinglong continent killing people, it has nothing to do with us. What we need to do is wait until they get the inkwash painting, then we'll seize it from them. Yu Liang immediately gives his subordinates an order. Yu Liang and the others do not have the slightest bit of courage in front of that mysterious Senior Lan. However, they are not the least bit afraid of a loose immortal from the Tinglong continent. If there is anyone in the world who can make Yu Liang shrink back, perhaps it is the Dragon Clan's clan leader and the number 1 expert of the chaotic astral ocean, Zhongju. Yes, my lord. Kong Chao is keeping watch in the capital. Given the distance between the core area of the wilderness and the capital of the Qin dynasty, it only takes a few teleportations to reach it. There is simply no need to worry that his subordinates will not arrive in time. Qin Zheng is in the imperial study correcting memorials. Even though Qin Yu ordered Protector Yang to tell Qin Zheng about the heaven-sundering diagram, Qin Zheng is not worried at all. According to his understanding, if he gives the heaven-sundering diagram to the opposite party and intimidates them a little with Uncle Lon, presumably the opposite party will not do anything to him even if they take the heaven-sundering diagram. Phew! Qin Zheng stretches his body. He has finally finished correcting the thick memorials. Fortunately, he has Qin Yu's foundation building pill, which allowed Qin Zheng, who does not have a high aptitude, to reach the Xiantian realm. As a Xiantian expert, even if he does not sleep for several days and nights, it is just a small matter. Big Brother reached the Jin Dan stage long ago, and Third Brother's cultivation level has reached an astonishing level. Only I reached the Xiantian realm because of Second Brother's foundation building pill. But there is still a long way to go. When Guan matures, I will pass the throne to him and then I can concentrate on practicing. Qin Zheng thinks of his own son, the current crown prince Qin Guan, and he is very fond of him. Qin Guan is very kind and at the same time very flexible. He is not the kind of person who does not understand change. Qin Zheng believes that when the Qin dynasty unifies the entire Qianlong continent and hands over this great dynasty to his son, the Qin dynasty will definitely reach a peak and even surpass the Qin dynasty of Qin Shi Huang 1,000 years ago. You are the emperor of the Qin dynasty, Qin Yu's second brother? A voice comes from the door of the imperial study. Qin Zheng is shocked and raises his head to look. In the heavily guarded imperial palace, the imperial study is even more heavily guarded. However, now there are almost 20 people standing outside the imperial study without waking any guards. The momentum of these 20 people is so terrifying that it makes people gasp for breath. The guards in the imperial study have cold sweat on their foreheads. It is too terrifying. The momentum alone makes these guards feel as if it is the end of the world. There is a terrifying feeling that the entire imperial palace is covered by dark clouds and there is no way to escape. None of these guards can make a sound. Even Protector Yang, who is at the late Dongshu stage and secretly protects the emperor, is frightened. You are, Qin Jing utters. Luckily these experts do not use their momentum to oppress Qin Zheng. After all, they still have to ask him questions. Dame Lianyu says coldly, "You don't need to ask these questions. I only want to ask you, where did your third brother Qin Yu go?" Wu Kongxue also says, "The heaven-sundering diagram, we just want the heaven-sundering diagram. Tell me where your third brother is." This Wu Kongxue is not worried at all about the information being leaked. Given his status, why would he be afraid of letting this mortal emperor know about the heaven-sundering diagram? The heaven-sundering diagram, so it's them. Qin Zheng is certain in his mind. He has been informed by Qin Yu in advance, so naturally he has a card up his sleeve. "Seniors, I am Qin Jing. I am the emperor of the Qin dynasty, entrusted by Senior Lan." Hearing Qin Zheng's self-introduction, Fire Devil and the others, who were about to scold him impatiently, immediately continue to listen to him when they hear the words Senior Lan. "I was entrusted by Senior Lan to give this heaven-sundering diagram to the person who came to find Qin Zheng. You must be the person Senior Lan was talking about. Senior Lan is really a divine strategist," Qin Zheng says smilingly. His words contain his respect for Uncle Lan. Wu Kongxue is startled. Dame Lianyu, Fire Devil, Wu Hei and the other 10-odd loose devils are all astonished. That mysterious Senior Lan unexpectedly gave up this heaven-sundering diagram. Not only are they surprised, Reverend Ming Liang, who has been hiding behind the wall of the imperial study, is also shocked. What's going on? Why didn't this Senior Lan come to teach these loose devils a lesson? Instead, he gave the heaven-sundering diagram to them. Reverend Ming Liang simply cannot believe it. According to his guess in that so-called sentence, "I only know the little golden pung." He speculated that this Uncle Lan was a super expert. But now it seems that everything is wrong. It doesn't matter. Who cares what's going on? Since Senior Lan said to give this heaven-sundering diagram to the person who came to find Qin Zheng and didn't explicitly say to give it to Wu Kongxue and the others, it seems anyone can take it. Do you think I'll be lenient? Reverend Ming Liang completely restrains his aura and prepares to get into action. But at this moment, Qin Zhang has taken out the heaven sundering diagram from his bosom. Everybody, this is the heaven sundering diagram Senior Lan left behind. Wu Kongxue and the others exchange a look. On the surface, the heaven sundering diagram in Qin Zhang's hand looks very similar to the one Dame Yan Ji obtained. Perhaps it is real. Dame Lian Yu says crisply. Senior Lan is indeed of noble character and unquestionable integrity. He doesn't care about the location of that immortal mansion. I admire him. Then we'll take this heaven sundering diagram. Later, when we have a chance, we'll definitely repay this great kindness. After saying these words, Dame Lian Yu goes to take the heaven sundering diagram. Wu Kongxue, Wu Hei, Fire Devil and the other 10-odd loose devils all have excitement in their eyes. However, at this last moment, a blur appears beside Qin Zhang out of thin air. Teleportation. That blur disappears at once after grabbing the heaven sundering diagram. However, when it is about to escape, Wu Kongxue is the first to get into action. Which of the loose devils at the scene is not an expert? When Reverend Ming Liang appeared in an instant, they came to realize that someone is trying to rob them. How can they let the heaven sundering diagram be snatched away when they are about to get it? However, they are simply too weak to stop Reverend Ming Liang. Wu Kongxue, however, is the fastest to react. Wu Kongxue lets out a low roar. The space around him immediately shakes. Reverend Ming Liang, who originally wanted to teleport, no longer dares to do so. To teleport, one must be in a place where space is stable. Otherwise, it is very likely that one will enter a space crack and be minced to pieces. However, with only a low roar, with Wu Kongxue as the center, it spreads out in all directions like a ripple. The ripple is so large that it covers more than half of the Imperial Palace. The buildings of the Imperial Palace, flowers, plants, trees, rockery and strange rocks are immediately turned into fine powder. There are also palace maids, princes and imperial grandsons and imperial concubines. Their blood stains the imperial palace of the Qin dynasty red. With this as the starting point, a reign of terror has finally begun. Chapter 242. There was a huge underground secret room built under the imperial study in the imperial palace, and the Lei Mountain house that Qin Yu had left for Qin Zhang was inside. The moment Reverend Ming Liang suddenly appeared in front of Qin Zhang's first reaction was to slap the table in the imperial study. Qin Zhang's entire body fell into a tunnel beside the table, and the tunnel immediately closed. As the emperor, he naturally had to be on guard against assassination attempts. This passageway was designed for that purpose. With a slap of his hand, he fell. Almost at the same time as Wu Kongxue's roar, that figure had just landed when that spatial ripple extended to the location where Qin Zhang was just a moment ago. It was extremely thrilling. Although Qin Zhang was not considered strong, he was still a Xiantian expert. Moreover, as the emperor of a country, his mental fortitude was much stronger than the average rogue cultivator. Now that the heaven-sundering diagram had been taken away, he didn't care who had taken it, and immediately hid in the underground secret room of Lei Mountain House. Qin Zhang escaped. However, none of the nearly 20 loose devils present noticed this. All of their attention was focused on Reverend Ming Liang. Ming Liang, this heaven-sundering diagram is ours. Put it down and we'll let you go. Wu Kongxue's voice is loud and clear, but a terrifying energy wave is continuously shaking the area within several li of him. The surrounding space is shaking non-stop. The all-out attack of a 12th tribulation loose devil can even cause cracks to appear in the space of the mortal world. Now he only needs to make the space vibrate, so of course it's easy for him. Seeing that he could not teleport, Reverend Ming Liang did not say much. He only snorted coldly and turned into a stream of light, flying straight towards the south. Leave behind the heaven-sundering diagram. Wu Kongxue's loud shout resounds through the entire capital. At the same time, Wu Kongxue himself launches an extremely terrifying attack. Various blood-red beams of light shoot out from Wu Kongxue's hands and bombard the area in front of Reverend Ming Liang, trying to prevent him from escaping. At the same time, a blood-red cloud appears in the sky above the capital. Obviously at this moment Wu Kongxue has unleashed his strongest power. Phew. Dream on. Reverend Ming Liang had already obtained the heaven-sundering diagram, so how could he possibly hand it over submissively? Since Wu Kongxue is trying so hard to pin him down, it is simply impossible for him to escape. Only, how could Reverend Ming Liang be afraid of Wu Kongxue? He immediately waves his hand and shoots a beam of light towards Wu Kongxue. Clashing head-on, dodging, launching sneak attacks, bombarding Dharma treasures, throwing talismans. For a moment, there are continuous explosions. What kind of power does Reverend Ming Liang and Wu Kongxue have? They were all super experts of the 12th tribulation. Once they fought with all their strength, how could a small capital city survive? Explosions occurred one after another, and bloody clouds filled the sky. The blood-red clouds were thick and dense, and the stench of blood was so strong that ordinary mortals would feel nauseous and fearful when they smelled it. Such thick clouds of blood covered the sky above the capital. It made everyone in the capital feel that the sky was low and the earth was high. At the same time, they also felt that the end of the world was coming. Wu Kongxue, ah, divine retribution, divine retribution. A scholar ran in a panic. He accidentally stumbled and fell to the ground. On the streets of the capital, almost everyone was running for their lives. Very quickly, this scholar was trampled to death. His bones were crushed, and pale white bone fragments pierced through his flesh. It was a tragic sight. However, almost no one noticed this scene, because today was the end of the world. This scene was playing out in almost every place. Boom! Reverend Ming Liang dodges Wu Kongxue's attack. This attack hits the streets of the capital. Immediately, it is as if the sun is radiating rays of light. With the place of impact as the center, this attack spreads out for several hundred meters in all directions. Everything within several hundred meters is turned into fine powder. Within several li, houses also collapse, smashing countless mortals to death. Xiaoying, come back quickly. A woman shouted anxiously. Who said that wars between dynasties were the most terrifying? Even in war, mortals still had a chance to escape or had the ability to resist and risk their lives. However, when 12th tribulation loose devils and 12th tribulation loose immortals fight like this, it was simply the end of the world. The mortals could only run away like crazy. They had no ability to resist at all. They could only hope that the explosion would not fall on their heads. Two silhouettes were moving extremely fast. In an instant, they had flown from the eastern suburbs of the capital to the western suburbs. Along the way, the air exploded. The two super experts were completely enraged. Neither of them was willing to back down. Wu Kongxue wanted to seize that heaven-sundering diagram at all costs. Reverend Ming Liang also wanted to protect it with his life. The capital of the Qin dynasty was moaning and wailing because of the fight between the two super experts. City walls were shattered, houses collapsed, palaces exploded, severed limbs flew everywhere, blood covered the ground, and wails were heard everywhere. It was miserable. No matter if they were commoners or nobles. In front of this absolute and irresistible power, they were all praying for God's protection, praying that the attacks of those two super experts would not fall on their surroundings. In Lei Mountain House, Qin Zheng's face was full of gloom. He had 3 guardians under his command. One of them was at the middle Dongshu stage and the other 2 were at the early Dongshu stage. As for that late Dongshu stage guardian Yang, he had already been killed by Wu Kongxue's low roar just now. He had no power to resist at all. If Qin Zheng had been just a bit slower, or if his psychological quality had been just a bit lower, perhaps he would have ended up the same way. As for the 3 guardians in Lei Mountain House, they had been living here all along. Your Majesty, I used my holy sense to investigate. With the imperial study as the center, About 60% of the Imperial Palace's area was completely destroyed by that roar. As for the other 40%, it also exploded during the fight between the two super experts. The middle Dongshu stage guardian Liang Shen said respectfully. Qin Zheng's face changed color. You mean except for me, everybody else in my Imperial Palace is dead? Qin Zheng simply could not accept this result. Liang Shen hurriedly said, Your Majesty, not everybody is dead. In the beginning, except for you, all the people in the area covered by that super loose devil's low roar were killed. As for the other 40% of the Imperial Palace, even though it was ravaged by the energy waves of the fight between the two super experts, when that loose devil roared, the surviving princes, princesses, and imperial concubines all hid in secret underground rooms. Qin Zheng felt a bit relieved inwardly. But Your Majesty, this doesn't mean anything. Those two super loose practitioners are too powerful. Even if they were hiding underground, as long as they were within several tens meters of the attack by accident, they would still be killed by the explosion. Liang Shen said again. Qin Zheng got angry. Tell me, now how many of my princes are still alive? Liang Shen said respectfully. Originally there were 13 princes in that 40% of the Imperial Palace's area, but now, there are only 6 left. These 6 are all hiding in secret underground rooms. But without the protection of Lei Mountain House, if they were hit by the attack of those two super loose practitioners, they would probably lose their lives. The two 12th Tribulation loose practitioners. Even if they were underground, those within several tens of meters of them would definitely die if they were hit randomly. Underground, those within several hundreds of meters of them would definitely die if they were hit on the ground. The buildings within several thousands of meters would collapse. Because Qin Zheng was underground, he was also protected by Lei Mountain House. Unless the two super loose practitioners wanted to kill him, it was impossible for their scattered attacks to blow up Lei Mountain House. 6. When this fight is over, I don't know how many will be left. Qin Zheng's heart was full of helplessness and hatred. What about the Empress and the others? Qin Zheng asked. The 3,000 imperial harems were all in the same area. According to Qin Zheng's guess, that area should have been within the attack range of that super loose practitioner's low roar at the beginning. It is very possible that all the concubines and imperial concubines have died. But Qin Zheng found it really hard to accept, so he asked Liang Shen. Liang Shen shook his head helplessly. Concubine Wan, Concubine Ling. Recalling the familiar imperial concubines, Qin Zheng felt a burst of heartache. Ah! Qin Zheng roared in a low voice. His whole body began to tremble. He clenched his fists so tightly that his fingernails pierced into his palms. Blood dripped down drop by drop. Your Majesty, there's still one imperial concubine alive. She is the 5th prince's birth mother, Concubine Gong. At the moment she and the 5th prince are hiding in the secret underground room of the 5th prince's residence. They are still alive. Liang Shen suddenly said. Qin Zheng was startled. There's still one. Qin Zheng remembered in a short while. Last night it was Concubine Gong who was there. She even said she would go to see her son today. He did not expect her to have escaped a disaster. Of course, it was still hard to say whether she could survive or not. After all, the two super loose practitioners were still crazily fighting each other. After a long time, Your Majesty, the sky above the capital has calmed down. Those expert loose practitioners seem to have all left. Liang Shen suddenly said. Reverend Ming Liang and Wu Kongxue were both extremely powerful and astonishingly fast. In just a short while, they had already gone several thousand li south. In order to prevent Reverend Ming Liang from using teleportation to escape, Wu Kongxue continuously sent out terrifying energy waves along the way. Wherever the two of them flew, all the buildings were turned into fine powder. No matter if they were mortals or Xiationists, they were all turned into pieces of flesh and blood. Bloody Road. This road of killing was definitely the first time Wu Kongxue and Reverend Ming Liang had fought with their lives on the line since they reached their current level. How could the two of them care about those mortals who would be implicated? Starting from the capital of the Qin dynasty, they immediately moved south at a high speed, killing their way through. They passed through several 10 cities in total. Even though most of the cities were not as miserable as the Qin dynasty's capital, their buildings were almost completely destroyed and at least half of their population was lost. From the Qin dynasty's capital to the Ming dynasty's Lanshan city, this several tens of thousands of li of fighting was a bloody road. The number of mortals killed or injured even reached several tens of millions. It was even more than the number of people lost in a war. Especially after several 10 cities were destroyed, the economic losses reached an astonishing level. Haha, Wukongshui. This time the heaven-sundering diagram will definitely belong to us. You can stop dreaming. Reverend Qi Yong, an 11th tribulation loose immortal of the Xiang school, laughs wildly. Finally, the Xiaxianists hiding in the dark finally showed up. There was Reverend Ming Liang, a 12th tribulation loose immortal, and 4 11th tribulation loose immortals, namely Reverend Ming Shan, Reverend Lan Bing, Reverend Qi Yang of the Xiang school and Shui Yuyang of the Lanyang school. Among these 4, Shui Yuyang of the Lanyang school was the strongest. Reverend Ming Liang against Wu Kongshui, Shui Yuyang of the Lanyang school against Wu Hei, Reverend Qi Yang against Fire Devil, Reverend Lan Bing against Dame Lian Yu. Reverend Ming Shan also led 10th Tribulation, 9th Tribulation and 10th Tribulation loose immortals to fight the other 10+ loose immortals of the opposing side. This battle between the strongest mortals of the Xiaxianists and the Xiaxianists was simply world-shaking. They fought from the capital of the Qin dynasty to the southernmost city of the Ming dynasty, Lanshan city. Afterwards, they even fought directly to the boundless ocean. In the air above the ocean, the two sides disregarded everything. A hint of ruthlessness appeared on Reverend Ming Liang's face. He raised his right hand horizontally. An extremely dazzling dot of light appeared at the tip of his index finger. That dot of light was as dazzling as the sun. At that moment, it was as if the sun's radiance was blocked by this dot of light. Wu Kongshui's face changed color. You don't even want your life anymore. Wu Kongshui knew that this move of Reverend Ming Liang's was very powerful. Only this move hurt the enemy 800 times. Reverend Ming Liang would not use it unless it was a desperate moment. Only if Wu Kongshui was not repelled, Reverend Ming Liang would simply not be able to escape. Point star, sky piercer. A dot of light passed through. That dot of light seemed to have pierced a small hole in space. At the same time, this dot of light continued to shoot toward Wu Kongshui. Wherever the dot of light passed, space was completely cut open. A terrifying attractive force came from that spatial crack. Moreover, this dot of light was really too fast. Wu Kongshui's face changed color greatly. He clenched his teeth. In an instant, his face turned very red. The skin on his whole body also turned very red as if it was boiling. His whole body turned into a bloody beam of light and dodged far away. Go! Reverend Ming Liang shouted in a low voice. His body immediately flashed to a place where space was stable. Immediately, he used teleportation and disappeared. Since Reverend Ming Liang had escaped, the other loose immortals naturally did not continue to fight. All of them ran away and used teleportation to disappear. In this battle, almost all the 11th Tribulation loose immortals of the Devil Path side and the Immortal Path side suffered either light or heavy injuries. As for the 8th Tribulation, 9th Tribulation and 10th Tribulation loose immortals of both sides, quite a few experts were killed in this battle. Wu Kongshui, Dame Lian Yu, Fire Devil, Wu Hei and the others all had gloomy expressions. These vile people. Fire Devil's anger soared to the heavens. Wu Kongshui said coldly, immediately return to the Tanglong continent. No matter what, we'll definitely get back what we suffered this time. Humph, Ming Liang. When had Wu Kongshui ever suffered such a big loss? The heaven-sundering diagram he was about to obtain was unexpectedly snatched away by someone else. How could he not be angry? Go! Wu Kongshui gave an order. All the loose immortals immediately used teleportation to rush back to the Golden Tree Island as fast as they could. However, after they disappeared for a while, several silhouettes appeared in the sky above the area where the battle had just taken place. The leader was none other than the controller of the core area of the wilderness, the king of the wilderness, Yu Liang. Chapter 243. His body is thin but his skin is like fine jade. His eyes are not big but they seem to be filled with lightning. This is Yu Liang, a 12th tribulation loose demon, the #1 expert of the wilderness. There are 3 people standing behind him. One of them is tall and thin. His eyes are as chilling as a viper's. His whole body is wrapped in a huge black robe, giving people a gloomy, dark and terrifying feeling. This person is an expert second only to Yu Liang. He is the head of the 3 huge demons under Yu Liang's command. 11th tribulation loose demon Kong Chao, a divine beast with 9 heads. The other one is similar to Yu Liang in stature, but his muscles are streamlined and his skin is dark black like black satin. This person is one of the 3 huge demons under Yu Liang's command. 11th tribulation loose demon Xing Shou, a divine beast with flowing lightning leopard. The last one has a resolute face. His body is wrapped in a red warrior outfit like a flame. The muscles all over his body are as hard as rocks. This is the last of the 3 huge demons under Yu Liang's command. 11th tribulation loose demon Wu Shan, a divine beast with fiery lava lion. Loose demons are extremely powerful. Even though these 3 loose demons are all at the 11th tribulation, they are still divine beasts. They are obviously more powerful than 11th tribulation loose devils and 11th tribulation loose devils. Any one of them is close to Wu Hei in power. Sir, that inkwash painting has already been taken away by Reverend Ming Liang. Now Xing Shou asks in a low voice. Wu Shan's deep voice rises. Xing Shou, those loose immortals and loose devils are much weaker than us. Why do you care so much? Let's just go straight to the Tinglong continent and rob it. Kong Chao says nothing. He only looks at Yu Liang. Yu Liang slowly nods and says softly, individual loose immortals and loose devils aren't very powerful, but Reverend Ming Liang and Wu Kongshui are exceptions. Their power is probably about the same as mine. But I'm still confident that I can overpower them. Remember, when you get to the Tinglong continent, don't be too arrogant. Individually, loose immortals and loose devils are weaker than us, but they're good at setting up formations. Once several loose immortals set up a formation together, its power will increase by several times. Yu Liang orders strictly. Hearing these words, the 3 huge demons under Yu Liang's command all understand. Sir Yu Liang has decided to go to the Tinglong continent. In the wilderness, most of the Zooists are beasts and birds. Among them, the beasts are the strongest. Zooists can be divided into 3 categories: beasts, birds, and scales. The overall strength of the primordial world was definitely not weaker than that of the dragon race. Get ready. At the same time, tell the 18 protectors to gather. This time, the 4 of us and the 18 protectors are going to the Tinglong continent. Phew! It's already been more than 3,000 years since the last time I went to the Tinglong continent. I'm really looking forward to it. A faint smile appears on the corners of Yu Liang's mouth. At the same time, the mustache at the corner of his mouth also rises. The 3 monsters bowed and accepted the order. They all understand that this time they are going to play a big game. The top powers of the loose demons of the untainted land have all set off. This is an extremely extraordinary thing. Times while the loose devils and loose immortals are fighting each other, the loose demons of the untainted land are preparing to set off for the Tinglong continent to stir up a great storm. What about the powerful dragon clan, who had been hiding in the dark and hadn't made much of a move? But the chaotic astral ocean, which is the most powerful place, is a place where loose demons, loose devils and loose immortals gather. It does not belong to any side and has no means of communicating with the upper world. In addition, the people of the Tinglong continent, the Dragon Clan and the Untainted Land have all concealed information about the Heaven Sundering Diagram, so the chaotic astral ocean does not know the secret of the Heaven Sundering Diagram. If the chaotic astral ocean had known about it, it would have been even more chaotic. But no matter how chaotic it is, the Qin dynasty and the Ming dynasty on the Qianlong continent have suffered an unprecedented blow. The 12th tribulation loose cultivators attacked mercilessly, destroying several tens of cities and countless towns and villages. Tens of millions of people died. For the time being, the Qin dynasty and the Ming dynasty are in a state of shock. Just the matter of settling down the remaining tens of millions of people is a big problem. The Qin dynasty is the most miserable. Among the several tens of cities destroyed, the capital of the Qin dynasty has suffered the most damage. Nearly 90% of the population has died. The remaining population is basically less than 10%. Most of these survivors have safely survived by hiding in cellars or secret underground rooms. Some of them are also hiding in some corner of the capital where the collapse of buildings did not hit them. Luckily, they have not been affected. At the moment, Qin Zheng is living in a manor house on the outskirts of the capital. Most of the troops stationed outside the capital have survived. At the moment, the troops are dealing with the aftermath. Your Majesty, the population of the capital used to be several million. Now, only about 100,000 people have survived. And this is because those two super experts didn't intend to destroy the city. General Wang Ji's face is also full of grief. After all, too many people have died. Wang Ji continues. But the biggest loss is, the ministers of the Qin dynasty who are qualified to attend the morning court are almost all dead. Only the assistant minister of the Ministry of Works, Li Yun, is still alive. Qin Zheng feels even more miserable. All the civil and military officials in the court are almost all dead. For a dynasty, this is definitely a very heavy blow. Luckily, the city guards, commanders and troops of the other cities have not suffered any losses. As long as the troops are fine, the country will not fall into chaos. However, how can it be so easy to select a new batch of civil and military officials? Among the princes, the 5th prince, the 8th prince and the 18th prince are still alive. Among the princesses, only Princess Mingyang is still alive. Among the imperial concubines, only concubine Gong is still alive. Less than 10% of the collateral descendants of the royal family are still alive. Only 6 of the hundreds of collateral descendants of the royal family are still alive. Wang Ji's voice sounds very sorrowful. Qin Zheng's body starts to tremble. Is there any other news? Qin Zheng's voice is flat. Wang Ji doesn't dare to speak. He can feel Qin Zheng's grief at this moment. He just shakes his head. Qin Zheng takes a deep breath. General Wang, the survivors must be settled properly. For now, the survivors in the capital must be taken care of by you. I need some peace and quiet. After a day, I will slowly take care of these things. At this moment, what Qin Zheng needed was calmness and reflection. In his current state, he can't take care of things at all. Yes, Your Majesty. Wang Ji bows and accepts the order. All right, you can leave now. Qin Zheng waves his hand and turns to enter the room. The 3 surviving princes, 1 princess and 1 concubine are all in the courtyard. Nobody dares to enter the room to disturb Qin Zheng. With a creak, the door to the room closes. The princes, princesses and concubine Gong look at each other, all worried. 5th brother, my mother, the crown prince, the 3rd brother and the other brothers, are they all dead? Princess Mingyang, who is only 13 years old, can't accept this result. Dozens of her brothers and sisters have all died. The 5th prince is the oldest of the princes. But right now he is also very depressed. In the room, Qin Zheng just stands there, looking at the portrait hanging in the center of the room. He doesn't move at all. After an indeterminate amount of time, a sorrowful but depressed voice rises. Father, there are only a few dozen people left in the huge Qin clan. Father, I've let you down. Qin Zheng kneels down heavily, his knees hitting the stone floor. But Qin Zheng doesn't notice the pain at all. Tears completely cover his face. The Qin clan, even if you don't count Qin Shi Huang, has been passed down for 1,000 years. Although there aren't many clansmen, there are nearly 1,000 of them if you count the branch family members. Ever since the Qin clan became the imperial clan, the branch family members are also called imperial clan members. Almost all of them live in the capital. In less than a day, the capital has been turned upside down. Even if you count the imperial clan members outside, there are only a few dozen people left in the Qin clan. 95% of the Grand Imperial clan has been wiped out. As the current leader of the Qin clan, the emperor of the Qin dynasty, Qin Zheng has to bear the blame. Qin Zheng couldn't absolve himself from the blame. Although Qin Zheng couldn't be blamed, he couldn't forgive himself. After a long time, along with the sound of the door opening, Qin Zheng walks out of the room with a resolute look in his eyes. The princes and princesses outside all look at Qin Zheng. Qin Zheng says calmly, "Protector Liang Shen, quickly pass on all the information here to my third brother." A voice rises out of nowhere in the courtyard. Times Qin Yu has already placed the 3 extreme ice lions into the Qingyu immortal mansion. At this moment, he, Hou Fei and Kuro are hurrying towards the Qianlong continent at high speed. Qin Yu has a middle-grade immortal sword. Hou Fei has a strange black stick. Kuro also has a cloud-piercing spear. The material of this cloud-piercing spear is exactly the same as Hou Fei's black stick. Qin Yu once used his own immortal sword to test out the black stick and the cloud-piercing spear. The black stick and the cloud-piercing spear are extremely strange. In terms of attack power, they are even slightly weaker than Qin Yu's immortal sword. But in terms of hardness, even an immortal sword cannot leave a single mark on the black stick and the cloud-piercing spear. In terms of speed, Kuro is ranked first. Ever since he passed the 9 from 9 to heaven tribulation, Kuro can also use a set of agility techniques. Once he uses it, his entire body will transform into an extremely sharp black ray of light. His speed is much faster than Qin Yu's. Hou Fei also has a set of agility techniques. When he uses it, his speed is comparable to Qin Yu's full speed. Hou Fei's and Kuro's agility techniques all originate from their inherited memories. The 3 of them are flying at high speed. Qin Yu is unable to smile. There is always a trace of worry on his face. "Big brother, don't worry. Didn't you ask your second brother to give the heaven-sundering diagram to those people? I believe that once they get the inkwash painting, they will definitely not do anything to your second brother. After all, your second brother is only immortal. Those loose cultivators will not lower themselves." Hou Fei advises. Kuro also knows Qin Yu's current mood. He comforts him. "Don't worry, big brother. They got the inkwash painting. Plus, they have Uncle Lan's reputation. They will definitely not be impudent." Qin Yu tries his best to squeeze out a smile and smiles at his brother. "If only one of them comes, I am not worried at all." "But," Qin Yu worriedly said, "what I am most worried about is that several parties will come and start fighting in the Qianlong continent. With the strength of loose cultivators, once they start fighting in the Qianlong continent, then mortals will not be able to resist. What if my second brother, my sisters-in-law, and nephews are accidentally affected?" Qin Yu is most worried about this. But even if he is worried, it is useless. After all, his sisters-in-law are either empresses or imperial concubines. His nephews are all princes. With their status, how can they suddenly disappear and hide in the Xingchen pavilion? While worrying, Qin Yu flies for a period of time. On this day, Qin Yu is still flying at high speed. The 3 brothers are flying at full speed. The power consumed is simply astonishing. Qin Yu can recover quickly because of the vitality in his body, while Hou Fei and Kuro are also constantly absorbing the spiritual energy of heaven and earth to restore their strength while flying. Even so, in just a few days the 2 brothers have eaten an eternal rejuvenation pill. Huh! Qin Yu is shocked. This was because he had sensed a message from his transmission talisman. He immediately took it out. Ho Fei and Kuro immediately look at Qin Yu. Qin Yu sweeps with his spiritual sense. Pavilion Master, that day the Emperor listened to your words and gave the heaven-sundering diagram to the person who came. Who would have thought that when the diagram was handed over, an expert appeared out of thin air? That person should have used teleportation. The loose cultivator was afraid that person would snatch the heaven-sundering diagram and escape, so he used a sound wave attack. With a low roar, 60% of the imperial palace was turned into powder. Seeing this, Qin Yu's face suddenly turns ugly. He can guess what level of experts those two people are. It is very likely that they are 12th tribulation experts. Once two 12th tribulation experts fight, what will the result be? And the sound wave attack mentioned just now. Qin Yu is shocked. Sound wave attacks spread from the caster to the surroundings. At that time, his second brother should not have been far away. With his strength in the primordial realm, could he have withstood the sound wave attack of a 12th tribulation individual practitioner? What about my second brother? How is he? Qin Yu hurriedly asks. Pavilion Master, the Emperor is fine. The Emperor has long set up a mechanism in the Imperial study to prevent the enemy from assassinating him. The Emperor reacted very quickly. As soon as the heaven-sundering diagram was snatched, the Emperor entered the tunnel and came to Lei Mountain House. Guardian Liang Shen says through the transmitter. Qin Yu breathes a sigh of relief. It's just that the two loose cultivators are too strong. They fought crazily for the heaven-sundering diagram, destroying the capital and the imperial palace. More than 90% of the capital's population died. The concubines and princes almost all died. Among the princes, only the 5th, 8th, and 18th princes survived. Among the princesses, only Ming Yang survived. There are only 6 descendants of the Qin clan left in the capital. And because of the war between the two loose cultivators, more than 10 million people died in the Qin dynasty. Qin Yu's heart instantly sinks. Qin Yu is very clear about the Qin clan. There are only a few dozen descendants of the Qin clan in other cities. Most of them live in the capital. Now, there are only 6 descendants of the Qin clan left. There are only a few direct descendants of the imperial family left. At this moment, figures of people appear in Qin Yu's mind. The kind crown Prince Qin Guan, the cute little Princess Chun Shao, the knowledgeable 7th Prince Qin Su who is good at Go. There are also the maids in Prince Yu's mansion who take care of him, the housekeeper who often dozes off, and the most important descendants of the clan. But they're all dead. Qin Yu only feels a sharp pain in his heart. More than 10 million people died. My Qin clan was nearly exterminated. Good. Qin Yu's eyes turn red. You are actually so vicious and merciless. Don't blame me for being merciless. Top-grade elemental holy ore, right? I do have one. At worst, I'll demolish the entire eastern courtyard of the Qingyu Immortal Mansion and carefully mine the elemental holy ore. At the very least, I'll be able to obtain several pieces of top-grade elemental holy ore. Qin Yu's eyes flash with an ominous glint. So what if I destroy the Qingyu Immortal Mansion? After obtaining several pieces of top-grade elemental holy ore, a level 5 or 6 golden immortal can easily sweep across the entire Tanglong continent. The Qingyu Immortal Mansion is too big for me. Tanglong continent. Qin Yu's eyes flash with an ominous glint. Big brother, what happened? What happened? Seeing Qin Yu's red eyes, Ho Fei and Kuro became worried. They're all dead. Qin Yu's voice is deep and filled with killing intent. Ho Fei and Kuro don't know the details at all, but Qin Yu's expression and his words of dead, all dead, are enough for them to understand some things. My Qin clan has nearly been exterminated. Almost all of the younger generations have died. The entire imperial palace has been destroyed. It's destroyed so cleanly. You guys killed so happily. Since you guys killed so happily, I'll also make you happy. Qin Yu's entire body was shivering. Ho Fei is even more irritable than Qin Yu. Kill Big Brother. Let's go to the Tanglong continent. Kill. Ho Fei's killing intent is also faintly visible. Fei Xiaohei, speed up to the Golden Tree Island. Go directly to the Tinglong continent through the ancient teleportation formation. Qin Yu says coldly. The Qin clan has almost been exterminated. Almost all of its descendants have been killed. The Qin dynasty has lost more than 10 million people. How can Qin Yu let the murderer off so easily? He has the sword immortal puppet for offense and the Qingyu immortal mansion for defense. On the entire Tinglong continent, who can stop the red-eyed Qin Yu? Let's go. The three brothers rush towards the Golden Tree Island extremely fast like beams of light. In their eyes, Reverend Ming Liang and Wu Kongxue are worthless mortals. Killing several tens of millions of them is nothing. However, they simply don't know that it is because they have no scruples. They have attracted a devil who terrifies the entire Tinglong continent. Chapter 244. There are only 4 people in the Dragon Clan's meeting hall. The clan leader is the 5-clawed golden dragon Feng Tian, the number 1 expert of the Yen clan, the 12th Tribulation Silver Dragon, Yen Shan. There are also 2 elders of the Ao clan, the 11th Tribulation Black Dragon Ao Su and the 11th Tribulation Golden Dragon Ao Yen. These 4 people are the highest level of the Dragon Clan. Patriarch, not long ago, the loose devils led by Wu Kongxue attacked the Stellar Tower. But they didn't manage to break through the Stellar Tower's defensive formation. Ao Yen, the first person sitting on the left, says. The Dragon Clan leader Feng Tian raises his eyebrows. Wu Kongxue and that group of loose devils didn't manage to break the Stellar Tower's defensive formation. Are you sure? Feng Tian certainly knows Wu Kongxue's power. In the entire mortal world, except for him and Zhong Ju of the Devil Peng Island, no one is confident of defeating Wu Kongxue. Wu Kongxue's power is unimaginable. But even Wu Kongxue and that group of loose devils failed to break the Stellar Tower's defensive formation. What kind of formation is that? I'm sure, clan leader. At first I also doubted it, but this is the truth. I also sent someone to communicate with the Blue Dragon Temple in the north of the chaotic astral ocean. The spy the Blue Dragon Temple placed in the Stellar Tower also reported this. Ao Yen is very sure about this. Even though Ao Yen was shocked when he heard this news, it is still the truth. Yen Shan, the number 2 expert of the Dragon Clan, says slowly, Clan leader, I think we might have underestimated that loose immortal behind the Stellar Tower. Even though he is only an ordinary 12th Tribulation loose immortal, his ability to set up formations can indeed be called the number 1 in the mortal world. The number 1 in the mortal world. If he can really set up a defensive formation that even Wu Kongxue and the others cannot break even after joining forces, he is indeed qualified to be called the number 1 formation expert of the mortal world. In the mortal world, the number 1 formation is the 10 development illusionary formation around Heavenly Palace on Mount Qingshu on the Tinglong continent. According to legend, this formation is a secret formation of the immortal world. In the entire mortal world, only Zhong Ju and I can break this formation by force. Nobody else can. Feng Tian says indifferently. His words naturally contain a domineering air. Except for him and Zhong Ju, nobody else can break it. Feng Tian says so confidently. This also shows that he is confident in his power. Wu Kongxue, Reverend Ming Liang and the others simply cannot compare with a 12th Tribulation super divine beast. The 10 development illusionary formation is an illusionary formation, while the Stellar Tower's formation is an absolute defensive formation. Even Wu Kongxue and the other loose devils were unable to break through it even after joining forces. Even if I were to make a move, I'm afraid the chances of breaking through are not high, Feng Tian said with a frown. His strength was strong, but he was not arrogant to the point of being egotistical. How could a defensive formation that was able to stop the joint attack of Wu Kongxue and a group of loose devils be so easy to break? Right, what did Wu Kongxue and the others do after they failed to break the defensive formation of the Stellar Tower? I don't believe that they will return home, Feng Tian said with a smile. Ao Yen says smilingly with a nod. Just as you said, Patriarch Wu Kongxue and the others were unable to break into the Stellar Tower. Afterwards, they went to the capital of the Qin dynasty on the Qianlong continent. According to my estimation, they must have wanted to capture Qin Yu's brother, the emperor of the Qin dynasty, Qin Zheng, as a hostage. Truly unscrupulous. Ao Su and Yan Shan were disdainful. The Dragon Clan was a divine beast clan, so they were naturally very arrogant. If they wanted to snatch treasures, they would snatch them fair and square, capturing relatives to threaten them. Of course, the Dragon Clan experts were disdainful. Oh, Yan said with a smile. Ao Su, Yan Shan Patriarch, I think you've never imagined the outcome of this matter. Oh, Yan said confidently. Don't keep us in suspense, Feng Tian said with an indifferent smile. Perhaps Wu Kongxue and the others only wanted to capture Qin Zheng to threaten Qin Yu. Who would have thought? That heaven-sundering diagram was actually in Qin Zheng's possession. When Wu Kongxue arrived, Qin Zheng directly handed it over to Wu Kongxue. However, at that moment Reverend Ming Liang came out. Everything Ao Yan said was based on the information he had gathered. Ao Yan knew that Wu Kongxue and the others arrived in the capital first, and Reverend Ming Liang appeared later. Afterwards, the experts of the two sides fought a fierce battle. Even the heaven-sundering diagram was obtained by Reverend Ming Liang in the end. Only by thinking about it a little and straightening out the logical relationships, the truth of the matter could be known. Reverend Ming Liang came out. How wonderful! Feng Tian laughed. At the same time, the other three also laughed. In the eyes of the Dragon Clan's experts, the battle between loose devils and loose immortals, no matter how fierce it was, had nothing to do with them. They were just sitting on the sidelines and watching from the sidelines. They were so powerful that neither the loose devils nor the loose immortals dared to have any ideas about the heaven-sundering diagram of the Dragon Clan. It was very wonderful, Ao Yan continued. How could that Wu Kongxue let Reverend Ming Liang escape? How could he be willing to let Reverend Ming Liang take away the heaven-sundering diagram? Therefore, Wu Kongxue and Reverend Ming Liang fought a fierce battle from the capital of the Qin dynasty all the way to the ocean. The Qianlong continent lost countless people and also several 10 cities. Feng Tian and the others could imagine the scene of two super loose practitioners fighting with their lives on the line. Those mortals were still fish on the chopping block. In the sky above the ocean, that group of loose immortals under Reverend Ming Liang also came out. The two sides fought fiercely and both sides lost quite a few formidable loose practitioners. Several great experts were also injured, but Reverend Ming Liang still managed to get the heaven-sundering diagram and escape back to the Tenglong continent. Ao Yan said smilingly. The four great experts of the Dragon Clan listened to this information as if they were listening to a play. Feng Tian pondered for a while, then said, "Don't worry. I think that Wu Kongxue definitely won't let this matter go. Moreover, according to the information from the Dragon Emperor of the Demon Realm, we can infer that not only the loose devils and loose immortals want the heaven-sundering diagram, but also those loose demons of the wilderness." Loose demons of the wilderness. Ao Su, Ao Yan and Yan Shan's expressions all change. The wilderness is the gathering place of beasts and loose demons. In terms of overall power, the loose demons of the wilderness are about as powerful as the Dragon Clan. The loose demons of the wilderness don't have the heaven-sundering diagram, but they've definitely received orders from the demon realm. They'll definitely go fight for the heaven-sundering diagram, but they haven't done anything yet. I think the Tenglong continent is about to put on an extremely wonderful show. There is a faint smile on the corners of Feng Tian's mouth. Clan leader, once the loose devils, loose immortals and the loose demons of the wilderness start fighting each other, the entire Tenglong continent will definitely be plunged into a bloody storm. Then what about our Dragon Clan? Will we intervene? Ao Yan asks. Ao Su and Yan Shan also look at Feng Tian. Feng Tian is neither from the Ao clan nor the Yan clan, but he is a 5-clawed golden dragon. Therefore, his status is absolutely revered. In the Dragon Clan, the clan is only one aspect. What's more important is the clan itself. 5-clawed golden dragons are the noblest, followed by golden dragons, silver dragons and black dragons. As for azure dragons, blue dragons and red dragons, they are at the most ordinary level. Don't worry. We won't intervene for the time being. Let's watch the show carefully. If there's a chance, it won't be too late to intervene. Fong Tion's eyes glitter. The other 3 elders all laugh. They will sit on the fence and watch. If there's a chance, they will intervene. If there's no chance, they will just watch others fight. The Tenglong continent has started to shake. Since a few days ago, the Qingshu Temple has gathered several hundred core Xiaoxianist schools to hold a big meeting in the temple. After the meeting, these Xiaoxianist schools all let their seniors stay in the Qingshu Temple. The number of loose immortals in the Qingshu Temple has been increasing at a terrifying speed. In only 3 days, the number of loose immortals gathered in the Qingshu Temple has already reached over 5,000. And this is only a portion of the loose immortal seniors of the several hundred core Xiaoxianist schools on the Tenglong continent. In the chaotic astral ocean, the Devil Peng Island alone has over 3,006 tribulation loose immortals. The total number of loose immortals in the Xiaoxianist schools is definitely in the tens of thousands. It is estimated that in a half-month, the number of loose immortals gathered in the Qingshu Temple will definitely exceed 10,000. But in contrast, the Inue Palace has also gathered several hundred core Xiaoxianist schools. After a grand meeting, loose devils begin to gather in the Inue Palace one after another. The number of loose devils in the Inue Palace has also started to increase rapidly. The whole Tenglong continent seems to have fallen into an unprecedented oppressive terror. The Xioma side and the Zionist side, finally they are going all out. On Mount Qingshu, there are not many loose immortals in Heavenly Palace, but the weakest of them is at least a 6th tribulation loose immortal. Those below the 6th tribulation have all moved to other places on Mount Qingshu. Even the seniors of the Qingshu Temple, who originally lived in Heavenly Palace, have been moved out. In the main hall of Heavenly Palace, several tens loose immortals of the 10th tribulation or higher are drinking to their heart's content. Outside the main hall, over 1,000 loose immortals of the 6th tribulation or higher are also drinking to their heart's content. Everybody, this time fellow Taoist Shui Yuyang of the Lanyang School, Reverend Qi Yang of the Xiang School, junior brother Ming Shan of my school and fellow Taoist Lan Bing led more than 10 fellow Taoists to the Qianlong continent. In the end, this trip was not in vain and we obtained this heaven-sundering diagram. Reverend Ming Liang sits high in the seat of honor. His clear voice resounds through Heavenly Palace. The over 1,000 loose immortals all listen carefully. The immortal emperor of the immortal world ordered us to obtain this heaven-sundering diagram. And now we've finally obtained a part of it. For this reason, everybody, let's drink. Reverend Ming Liang raises his cup. Immediately, all the loose immortals raise their cups one by one. For a moment, the sound of celebration is endless. Reverend Ming Liang's face becomes serious. But that Xioma side definitely won't let this matter go. From now on, we must protect this heaven-sundering diagram well. When the immortal emissary descends to the mortal world, everybody who has contributed will be rewarded. The seniors of our Tenglong continent's Xiaoxianist schools in the immortal world will also benefit because of us. Reverend Ming Liang then says with an indifferent smile, "But you don't need to worry too much. The 10 development illusionary formation around my heavenly palace can't be broken even by that Xioma Wu Kongxue. Everybody's task isn't that heavy. We only obtained a heaven-sundering diagram. If we can obtain another one, the immortal emperor of the immortal world will definitely be very happy." Reverend, you're right. We have the 10 development illusionary formation for defense, but that Xioma side's formation skills are far inferior to ours. Let's seize this opportunity to obtain that heaven-sundering diagram. Humph, how can those Xioma loose immortals be qualified to possess such a precious treasure? Reverend Qi Yang of the Xiang School says in a clear voice. That's right. This kind of treasure should belong to the virtuous. For a moment, voices of agreement rise and fall one after another. The human heart is very difficult to satisfy. After obtaining a heaven-sundering diagram, people will want another one. This side of loose immortals wants to obtain another one, but the side of loose devils is extremely angry. The heaven-sundering diagram they were about to obtain was snatched away by Reverend Ming Liang and the others. Naturally, Wu Kongxue and the others are very angry. They also want to snatch the heaven-sundering diagram from the loose immortals' hands. But at the moment, both sides have gathered a large number of loose immortal experts. Once a fight breaks out, perhaps the entire Tenglong continent will be flooded with blood. It takes Qin Yu and his two brothers some time to fly from the chaotic astral ocean to the Golden Tree Island. Qin Yu and his two brothers are inside the ancient teleportation formation of the Golden Tree Island. They input their internal energy into this ancient teleportation formation. In a short while, the entire formation starts to shine. At the same time, the surrounding space also starts to vibrate. With a flash of light, Qin Yu and his two brothers immediately disappear from the Golden Tree Island. In the south of the chaotic astral ocean, there is also an island, Snowfish Island. This island is covered with snowflakes all year round. There is a lake at the top of a small mountain on the island. There is a special kind of fish in this lake. Because this kind of fish is snow white all over and the island is covered with snow, this fish is called snowfish. On Snowfish Island, there is an ancient teleportation formation not far from that snowfish lake. There is a flash of light in the ancient teleportation formation. When the light disappears, 3 young men appear in it. They are none other than Qin Yu, Ho Fei and Kuro. Big brother, do you know who the murderer is? Kuro asks. Qin Yu suppresses the sadness and anger in his heart and says with a shake of his head, I don't know. But in just a while I'll know who the murderer is. After saying so, Qin Yu takes out his transmitter. Dame Yen Ji, I'm Qin Yu. That day I obeyed Uncle Lan's order and left the heaven-sundering diagram to my second brother. I just learned that it has already been taken away by someone. Do you know who took it away and where it is? The first person Qin Yu asks is Yen Ji. Little brother Qin Yu, let alone that heaven-sundering diagram, that day when Lord Wu Kongxue and the others went to the Qianlong continent, your second brother was very tactful and wanted to give the heaven-sundering diagram to Lord Wu Kongxue. Who could have thought that that loose immortal Ming Liang would suddenly appear and rob it? Even though Wu Kongxue and Ming Liang had a big fight, they still couldn't take it back. Humph, Lord Wu Kongxue and my Dame Lian, you are both very angry. Now my Inue palace has already gathered over 10,000 loose devils. Lord Wu Kongxue and the others will definitely take that heaven-sundering diagram back again. Dame Yen Ji does not keep it a secret at all. In fact, this is basically no secret on the Tenglong continent. Almost all the loose devils and loose immortals on both sides know about it. The loose immortals are celebrating because of this while the loose devils are furious because of this. Dame Yen Ji does not keep it a secret at all. In her opinion, there is no problem in telling Qin Yu about this matter. However, at the moment, Qin Yu has already obtained what he wants to know. Wu Kongxue Ming Liang. Turns out it's the loose devils and loose immortals. Just as I expected. Qin Yu already knows the target in his mind. Chapter 245. Little brother Qin Yu. This time Lord Wu Kongxue seems to have attacked your stellar tower. It seems he couldn't even break the stellar tower's defensive formation. Little brother Qin Yu. Is your stellar tower's defensive formation really so formidable? Dame Yen Ji asks. In the current Inue palace, there are more than 1,006 tribulation loose devils. Apart from the glory of seizing the heaven-sundering diagram, Dame Yen Ji is no more than an ordinary loose devil. She is very curious as to why Wu Kongxue was unable to break the stellar tower's defensive formation. Qin Yu's heart jolts. He answers at once. Yen Ji, that stellar tower's defensive formation was set up by my Uncle Lan himself. It's called the Great Heavenly Stellar Formation. In my school, This formation is a relatively formidable formation. The reason why it's formidable is because it doesn't have high requirements for the person controlling it. Your school. Dame Yan Ji becomes curious in her heart. Ever since Wu Kongxue and the other top loose devils suffered losses outside the Stellar Tower's defensive formation, they began to pay attention to the loose immortal behind the Stellar Tower. If she, Dame Yan Ji, can get some information about Uncle Lan, won't she make a great contribution? Brother Qinyu, what's the name of your school? Dame Yan Ji asks Qinyu through her transmitter. Qinyu has a flash of inspiration. He randomly comes up with a name. My school is called the Truyong School. Uncle Lan is my martial uncle. Truyong School. What about your master? Do you still have other martial uncles in the mortal world? Do you still have other schoolmates? Dame Yan Ji asks quite a few questions in a row. Qinyu also answers through his transmitter. My master ascended long ago. In the mortal world, I still have several martial uncles. As for schoolmates, of course I have even more. Dame Yan Ji's heart skips a beat. Qinyu is mysterious. Qinyu's school is mysterious. The loose immortal behind the Stellar Tower is mysterious. Reverend Ming Liang is not the only one who wants to know urgently. Wu Kongxue also wants to know very much. However, Yan Ji felt that she was about to discover the truth. Truyong sect, Brother Qinyu. I see that your junior sister has a protective magic treasure. It should be at least a middle-grade immortal equipment. He possessed such a treasure and the grand heavenly cycle stellar array. So your Xinjiang school must be a big school, but why has nobody ever heard of it? Dame Yan Ji asks. Qinyu had a smile on his face. Yan Ji, this is a big secret of my school. How can I tell others at will? Dame Yan Ji's heart tightens. She hurriedly transmits. Brother Qinyu, what's the big deal if you tell me? Anyway, nobody knows where the Truyong School is and I didn't ask you about the Truyong School's power level. You just need to give me a rough idea. Qinyu pondered for a long time. Yan Ji, forget it, I'll just tell you a little bit. My Truyong sect is actually not a sect from this planet. The Truyong sect is a Ziotionist sect from another space. It's just that a senior from my sect accidentally passed through a space crack and came to this space. Then, he entered this planet and established the Truyong sect here. It's been passed down like this for more than 100,000 years. Yan Ji, I really can't tell you where my Xinjiang school is. Otherwise, the seniors of my school will definitely confine me. Qinyu snickers in his heart. Qinyu only knows about the concepts of planets and space from the knowledge left behind by his master Lei Wei. Now he has also casually made them up. By saying so, Qinyu only makes people feel that he is even more unfathomable. Not from this planet, from another space. Yan Ji's whole body is stupefied. Ordinary loose practitioners all know that the world they live in is an extremely large planet. At the highest point of the sky, there are boar winds and dark thunders. Generally, relatively powerful loose practitioners can pass through these boar winds and dark thunders and enter the boundless universe. But, in the universe, the distance between any planet and another planet is extremely far. Some loose immortals once flew out of a planet. Moreover, in the universe it is very easy to get the location wrong because even though the distance between two planets is not far, in fact it is terrifyingly far. It took an 11th tribulation loose immortal 100 years to fly from the planet where the Tenglong continent is located to the nearest planet. Even if he uses teleportation intermittently, it will still take an extremely long time. Moreover, loose practitioners who have been to the nearest planet will find that the other planet is completely desolate and devoid of any human life. Brother Qinyu, the seniors of your school in the past were really too awesome. The distance between planets in the universe is terrifyingly large. Relying on teleportation alone is really too slow in the boundless universe. Your seniors in the school can unexpectedly fly in the universe. I heard from my dame Lianyu that only experts at the level of devil kings, golden immortals, can fly in the universe. Dame Yan Ji exclaims in admiration. Qinyu laughs in his heart. He obtained some secret books on the second floor of the treasure house of the Nine Swords Immortal Mansion, so of course he knows that In general, the distance of teleportation is not very far. The effect of teleportation on a planet is not bad, but it is not very useful in the boundless universe. When a person reaches the power of a devil king, demon king or golden immortal, he or she can carry out the magical ability, greater teleportation, between planets. Lei Wei's master doesn't have the magical ability of greater teleportation, or even teleportation. He relies on science and technology to carry out interstellar adventures. Qin Yu naturally knows in his heart how his master came to be. His master space is a planet where science and technology are the main things and Shozhen is secondary. The space-jumping technology is definitely comparable to the magical ability of greater teleportation. Of course, Qin Yu is happy to see Dame Yan Ji's imagination run wild. Yan Ji, I can't say any more. Today I've already told you a lot of secrets. Qin Yu is the first to stop talking. He is afraid that he will blow his trumpet. Qin Yu puts away his transmitter. There is a hint of coldness in his eyes. The plan's trigger has been planted. That Dame Yan Ji will definitely tell this news to Wu Kongxue and the others. The Zhenyang school. This non-existent school's reputation will slowly spread out. The first step of the 3 steps of this plan will officially begin. Qin Yu takes a deep breath. His Qin clan has almost been exterminated. A bunch of his second brother's sons and daughters have died. Many of his wives and concubines have also died. In addition, more than 10 million people of the Qin dynasty have been killed. Qin Yu will not easily kill them all to avenge this grudge. He wants to make the 2 super schools and countless loose practitioners fall into panic because of this. And he will rely on the Qingyu Immortal Mansion, the Lord of Black Flame's ring and the Sword Immortal Puppet that only has 1 piece of top-grade elemental holy rock. How to use all of this effectively to achieve the best result is what Qin Yu wants to do. The 3 brothers Qin Yu, Hou Fei and Kuro fly all the way south directly from the Snowfish Island. This ocean is even vaster than the ocean in the north of the chaotic Astral Ocean. After flying for several months, the 3 Qin Yu brothers finally see a continent in the distance. That continent is lush and green and its holy energy is much denser than that of the Qianlong continent. They have arrived at the Tenglong continent. In terms of environment, the Tenglong continent is indeed much better than the Qianlong continent. Because of its dense holy energy, there are many flowers and plants here and the trees are also tall and straight. Similarly, there are also mortals on the Tenglong continent. The number of mortals on the Tenglong continent is far greater than that of the Qianlong continent. Mortals are the foundation of Zayashinists. Only 1 in 1,000 mortals can successfully become a Zayashinist. There are hundreds of millions of Zayashinists on the Tenglong continent, so it is easy to imagine how terrifying the mortal population is on the Tenglong continent. However, the Tenglong continent is so vast that even the 3 big dynasties and the wilderness are far from being able to catch up with it. With such a large area, even though the mortal population is terrifyingly large, it is still sparsely populated. Qin Yu, Hou Fei and Kuro fly by riding clouds. Now that they have arrived on the Tenglong continent, they no longer need to fly desperately. Even though the Tenglong continent is large, given the current power of Qin Yu and his 2 brothers, they can reach any place on the Tenglong continent very quickly even by riding clouds. Big brother, there are really a lot of mortals here. There are also a lot of Zayashinists. It hasn't been long but I've already seen several tens of thousands of Zayashinists. It's just that the strongest one I've seen is only at the Dongshu stage. He's really weak. Hou Fei says with a sigh while shaking his head. Qin Yu gives an indifferent smile. They're not weak. It's just that experts won't be so bored as to wander outside. Most of them stay in their own schools. Moreover, very few loose practitioners come out. Most of the current loose practitioners are probably in the Yingyue Palace and the Qingshu Temple. From Dame Yan Ji, Qin Yu also knows that a large number of loose practitioners are gathering at the Yingyue Palace. Presumably the Qingshu Temple will not be willing to fall behind. Qin Yu makes a flick of his sleeve. 3 extreme ice lions and an ink qilin appear out of thin air. In an instant, the 4 divine beasts all transform into their human forms. Of course, it is not that the 4 divine beasts want to transform into their human forms. Just now they all received a message from Qin Yu via holy sense communication. It was Qin Yu who asked them to transform into their human forms. The 3 Shi brothers are all Deshang stage divine beasts. In terms of power, they are comparable to 6th Tribulation Loose practitioners. Once they use the mystic eyeballs and the sword point alls, the 3 of them will be able to defeat even an 8th Tribulation Loose immortal if they join forces. Qin Yu has a body with an almost astonishing regenerative ability and can be called an immortal body. His body alone can defeat ordinary Deshang stage divine beasts. In other words, Qin Yu's body alone can match that of a 6th Tribulation Loose practitioner. At the same time, Qin Yu also has the 2 domains of the Lord of Black Flame's ring. The Heavenly Flame domain has an astonishing offensive power, and the Gravitational domain can catch opponents off guard. At the same time, he also has a middle-grade immortal weapon with astonishing offensive power. These 3 things alone are enough for Qin Yu to defeat the 3 Shi brothers. From this, it can be concluded that Qin Yu's power is absolutely not inferior to that of ordinary 8th Tribulation Loose practitioners. Ho Fei and Kuro. These 2 brothers of Qin Yu are at least high-grade divine beasts. In terms of individual power, they are superior to the 3 extreme ice lions. In addition, they have the secret technique of hereditary memory and the black stick and the cloud-piercing spear given by Uncle Lon. The black stick and the cloud-piercing spear don't have a great amplification effect, but in terms of hardness, even Qin Yu's middle-grade immortal weapon cannot compare with them. Ho Fei and Kuro's power is somewhat inferior to Qin Yu's, but not by much. The Ink Qilin is a middle-grade divine beast. In terms of weapons, its power is comparable to that of the extreme ice lions. It is just that it does not have a good weapon. Little Qilin, this is a middle-grade immortal weapon. I'll give it to you now. With this, you can defeat ordinary 6th Tribulation Loose practitioners. Qin Yu smiles and gives the Ink Qilin a brush-like immortal weapon, but the brush immortal weapon emits sword chi. The Ink Qilin is a divine beast. 3 tribulations is equivalent to the Deshang stage. The Ink Qilin is not much different from an ordinary 6th Tribulation Loose practitioner. With the addition of a middle-grade immortal weapon, its power will naturally increase by leaps and bounds. It is not difficult to defeat a 6th Tribulation Loose practitioner. Qin Yu alone can defeat an 8th Tribulation Loose practitioner. The 3 brothers of the Extreme Ice Lions can also defeat an 8th Tribulation Loose practitioner together. Ho Fei and Kuro are similar to Qin Yu. They are at least 7th Tribulation Loose practitioners, maybe even higher. The Ink Qilin is slightly weaker, but with the addition of a middle-grade immortal weapon, it is also a 6th Tribulation Loose practitioner. Among them, the power of Ho Fei and Kuro is the most difficult to judge. The main reason is, who knows whether they are the top legendary divine beasts or not? High-grade divine beasts are already extremely powerful, but super divine beasts whose numbers are in the single digits are even more outrageously powerful. Who knows how powerful Ho Fei and Kuro actually are? Everybody, what we need to do now is provoke the hatred between the Inue Palace and the Qingshu Temple and make them fight each other. Of course, to provoke them we have to kill some of their people. Given our current power to be safe, our targets are 4th Tribulation, 5th Tribulation and 6th Tribulation Loose practitioners. Qin Yu says while looking at the 6 people in front of him. Ho Fei shouts, too low, big brother. 6th Tribulation Loose practitioners are only equivalent to level 3 immortals. I can kill level 3 immortals with one blow of my stick. It's not challenging at all. It's too low. Kuro says only 3 words. Qin Yu is startled. Immediately he bursts into loud laughter. Haha Fei Xiaohei, you're really confident. But this time we can't be careless. Alright Fei, don't look at me like that. Anyway, we have the Qingyu Immortal Mansion to defend us. Agree. The highest target is 8th Tribulation Loose practitioners. At the request of his 2 brothers, Qin Yu has no choice but to set the target high. Anyway, with the Qing Yu Immortal Mansion, Qin Yu is not worried about not being able to escape. Suddenly, Wang Yuan, don't go too far. Your aptitude is better than mine. You've entered the know. One school, the Qingshu Temple. While I've only entered a nameless small school. But you've gone too far. When we were still mortals, you bullied me in the countryside. Now you want to rob me of my top grade or dream on. An extremely angry voice comes from the distance. Liexin, you're just a little Jin Dan stage Zionist. Do you think you're qualified to have such a top grade or? I'm already a Yuanying stage expert now. Once I have a top grade holy weapon, I'll definitely become an elite disciple of the Qingshu Temple. Another voice rises. Two voices are rushing towards Qin Yu's direction at a high speed. Qin Yu and the other 6 look at each other and smile. A Jin Dan stage expert and a Yuanying stage expert. In their eyes they are really very weak. Wang Yuan, why are you so arrogant? It's only been half a month, but several hundred of your Qingshu Temple's loose immortals have died. Several hundred of your ordinary disciples have also died. What's so good about the Qingshu Temple? My Lianhua school is small, but at least nobody has died. These were all done by those loose devils. Anyway, several hundred of the Yingyue Palace's loose devils have died. We didn't lose anything. At least some of our Qingshu Temple's loose immortals have died. Did your Lianhua school's loose immortals die? You simply don't have any. Qin Yu's eyes brighten. He has not instigated anything yet, but there seems to have been some big problems between the Yingyue Palace and the Qingshu Temple. Chapter 246. The ground is covered with fresh flowers. Who knows how long it has been since someone stepped on them? These colorful flowers are very beautiful. However, at the moment, there are 2 young men standing in the middle of the boundless flowers. One of them is wearing a dark blue gown and there is blood on the corners of his mouth. The man opposite of him is wearing a striking golden gown. He looks at the man in the dark blue gown with a cold smile. Master, just now when I heard what they said, I thought there was a big gap between their power. Now it seems one is at the late Jin Dan stage and the other is at the early Yuanying stage. The difference in power isn't that big. The Ink Qilin smacks his lips twice and says unconcernedly. Extreme Ice Lion Shurexen says with a smile. Amo, why don't you think about it carefully? If there's really a big gap between their power, why hasn't that golden-gowned man Wang Yuan obtained a top grade or after so long? But the Ink Qilin suddenly realizes. Qin Yu, Ho Fei and Kuro are paying attention to the conversation between Li Xian and Wang Yuan. Li Xian's eyes are full of determination. Yes, my Lianhua school is a small school. It can't even be ranked in the top 1,000 among Xiaxianist schools. It can't be any smaller. Your Qingshu Temple is a big school, the #1 Xiaxianist school. When you were in the countryside, your talent was higher than mine. Mine was very low. Li Xian's words contain traces of resentment. He seems to be recalling the scene of that year. I ran to so many schools but none of them wanted me. In the end, only the Lianhua school accepted me. But you were accepted by the Qingshu Temple. Your talent is high, your school is good and your practice technique is good. My talent is low, my school is bad and my practice technique is bad. But now I see that you're just a little bit better than me. Now I've reached the peak of the late Jin Dan stage and am only one step away from the Yuanying stage. Li Exin looks coldly at Wang Yuan. I really don't know if you've been practicing diligently these past years. You've wasted all your time scheming against each other and killing people for their goods. You. Wang Yuan points his finger angrily at Li Exin, but he is too angry to say anything. Wang Yuan's aptitude is very good. The Qingshu Temple has so many disciples and so many mortals. The fact that Wang Yuan was accepted as a disciple of the Qingshu Temple shows his aptitude. But after so many years, he was only slightly better than Li Exin, who had extremely low talent and a weak sect. Keep running if you have the ability. Why aren't you running anymore? Wang Yuan suddenly mocked. I won't run anymore. Li Xian smiled. If I keep running, I'll probably run out of energy. When that happens, I'll still be caught by you. But now, I still have enough strength to fight you and even self-destruct. Li Xian's eyes suddenly lit up. Wang Yuan's expression changed slightly. He was only one level higher than Li Xian. If Li Xian really blew himself up at the most critical moment, Wang Yuan would most likely lose his life. After all, disciples in the Yuanying stage were still unable to have their Yuanying out of their bodies. Qin Yu, who was watching from afar, had a good impression of Li Xian. In Qin Yu's mind, cultivation was the path of cultivation. Although aptitude was important, cultivation techniques were also important. But temperament was also very important. Li Xian had suffered a lot. His temperament had already been tempered to be incomparably firm. Wang Yuan, on the other hand, had a smooth journey. His temperament was not very good. No wonder he was only slightly better than Li Xian. Li Xian. A voice suddenly rang out. Li Xian and Wang Yuan, who were in a stalemate, were both startled. They could not help but look in the direction of the voice. They saw an indifferent man in a black robe flying down from the sky. Wang Yuan's heart jumped. An expert. His aura was much stronger than that of his master. Wang Yuan's master was only at the late Dongshu stage. There was naturally a huge gap between him and Qin Yu. Li Xian, I have something to ask you. Qin Yu looked at Li Xian and said. Li Xian was delighted. Of course he could feel that the person in front of him was far stronger than them. He immediately bowed and said, Senior Junior is currently being chased by this bastard. He wants to steal Junior's top grade ore. With this bastard standing here, it's really hard for Junior to calm down and answer your questions. Qin Yu only looked at Wang Yuan. Wang Yuan struggled inwardly. I'm a disciple of the Qingshu Temple. A few days ago, I was lucky enough to obtain a piece of top-grade ore. Who would have thought that it would be snatched away by this brat? I hope Senior can uphold justice. I'll definitely be eternally grateful. Wang Yuan turned around to accuse Li Xian. However, he did not know that just now Qin Yu had seen everything from not far away. You're shameless. Li Xian said coldly. Wang Yuan said righteously. Li Xian, didn't I mine this top grade or myself? You still want to frame me. I've really never seen anyone more shameless than you. You still want to distort the truth. Noisy. Qin Yu waved his hand. A stream of golden energy from the solar core shot directly into flood disaster Wang Yuan's body. Wang Yuan was directly reduced to nothingness. Li Xian's heart jumped. He never thought that Wang Yuan, who was only at the Yuanying stage, would die like this. Senior, please don't hesitate to ask me anything. I'll definitely tell you everything I know. Li Xian said with a bow very respectfully. Qin Yu said indifferently. Let me ask you. Some time ago, the Yingyue Palace and the Qingshu Temple started to gather loose practitioners from everywhere and had them gather in their schools. What actually happened since then? I seem to have heard you say that several hundred loose immortals died. What actually happened? Senior, you should have just returned from overseas, right? Li Xian said smilingly. For some reason, the loose devils and loose immortals all started to gather in the Yingyue Palace and the Qingshu Temple. But afterwards, people from the Yingyue Palace and the Qingshu Temple started to be killed. Qin Yu raised his eyebrows. At first, only ordinary disciples died. As time went by, the dead became loose immortals. Many first tribulation, second tribulation and third tribulation disciples died. Even quite a few fourth tribulation and above were killed. Not only the loose immortals of the Qingshu Temple, but also many loose devils of the Yingyue Palace were killed. Li Xian suddenly frowned. However, these loose immortals died in a very strange manner. Some simply disappeared into thin air while some died while fighting against loose immortals. At any rate, many of them, if you look carefully, You will see that the loose immortals and loose immortals have begun probing each other, Li Exin said with a smile. Probe? Qin Yu asked closely. Li Exin explained. That's too simple. The Inue Palace has gathered so many loose devils and the Qingshu Mountain has gathered so many loose immortals. What are they gathering for? Could it be that they want to eat and drink and waste time? Of course they want to kill each other. Right now they're just probing each other. Humph, only several hundred have died, but the Inue Palace and the Qingshu Mountain have gathered over 10,000 loose practitioners. So what if several hundred have died? Li Exin said with a cold laugh. I think it won't be long before this Ting-Long continent will be flooded with blood. Qin Yu nodded. Do you have a map of the Ting-Long continent? Give me a copy. Qin Yu said coldly. Li Exin wondered why this senior before him did not even have a map, but he did not say anything. Instead, he respectfully handed a jade slip to Qin Yu. After receiving it, Qin Yu scanned it with his holy sense and got a clear picture of the Ting-Long continent. Very good. With a flip of his hand, he took out a top-grade metal attribute ore. Consider this your reward. Qin Yu threw this top-grade ore to Li Exin. With a movement of his body, he disappeared into thin air in front of Li Exin's eyes. In fact, Qin Yu gave Li Exin a top-grade ore because he had a very good impression of him. For Qin Yu, who had ores from the immortal world, a top-grade ore was nothing at all. A top-grade ore. Seeing the ore, Li Exin was overjoyed. When he looked again, Qin Yu had already disappeared. In midair, 7 people, Qin Yu, Hou Fei, Kuro, the 3 extreme ice lion brothers and the ink Qilin are flying. Big brother, I think that brat at the gene dance stage was right. The loose immortals and the loose devils should be probing each other. Killing several hundred loose practitioners is nothing at all. Hou Fei also says. Qin Yu slowly shakes his head. It doesn't seem to be probing. Keep having that feeling. Qin Yu says uncertainly. Immediately, Qin Yu shakes his head and says smilingly. Since you can't figure it out, then don't think about it. Big brother, let's go and kill them. Why do we care so much about them? Anyway, don't we have the Qingyu Immortal Mansion? After killing them, we'll immediately hide in the Qingyu Immortal Mansion. When the people outside are less busy searching, we'll go and kill them. Won't that be delightful? Hou Fei's eyes brighten. Kuro does not say anything, but his eyes also brighten. Master, that's not right. Sure, Exan says. Damn it, what's not right? With the Qingyu Immortal Mansion, even 12th Tribulation loose immortals won't be able to break into it. What's there to be afraid of? Hou Fei says angrily. V. Qin Yu stops Hou Fei. Sure, Exan, you continue. Sure, Exan says with a nod. Master, in my opinion, the loose immortals and the loose devils have both lost several hundred men. I believe they've already become like fire and water. So much so that they've definitely set up an inescapable net in their headquarters, waiting for the other side to kill them. If we go, we'll very likely fall into a trap. Qin Yu nods in agreement. Qin Yu has also thought of this point. At this time, the Qingshu Temple and the Inue Palace must be heavily guarded and even have set up an inescapable net. An inescapable net. Shirexa, you idiot, of course I know it's a trap. But why don't you think that no matter how powerful an inescapable net is, what can it do to Big Brother's Qingyu Immortal Mansion? Hou Fei seems to be a little impatient. What he wants most is a massacre. Qin Yu ponders for a while. Alright, let's do it this way. For the time being, you all enter the Qingyu Immortal Mansion to rest. I'll pretend to be an ordinary Xiaoxianist and go to the Qingshu Temple to investigate. Don't worry, Fei. After I've investigated, I'll definitely let you kill to your heart's content. Hou Fei and the others immediately disappear into thin air and enter the Qingyu Immortal Mansion. As soon as Qin Yu remembers that the Qin clan was almost exterminated and that the lovely maids and loyal bodyguards of his Rui Wang mansion have all died, he cannot help feeling murderous. Wu Kongxue Ming Liang. Whoever caused the disaster in the past will have to bear the bitter fruit. Qin Yu flies directly towards the Qingshu Temple like a beam of light. The Tinglong continent is vast. In the north it is still summer, but in the south it may be winter. Mount Qingshu is in the distance. But at the moment the world is completely white. Heavy snowflakes are falling non-stop. Qinyu is a black dot in the boundless snowflakes in the sky. When he is flying close to Mount Qingshu, Qinyu's flying speed has already started to slow down. Suddenly, Qinyu's attention is attracted by a small flame below. That old man is an expert. Qinyu feels that the white-haired old man is not simple. At the foot of Mount Qingshu, there is a bonfire under a dense tree. Beside the bonfire are a sturdy young man and a white-haired old man. "Here, old man." That sturdy young man hands a roasted thigh to the white-haired old man. "This is a white deer that I just hunted. The venison is still fresh." The white-haired old man has white hair but a ruddy complexion. He receives the venison smilingly and takes a bite with relish. "Well, the taste is very good. Little brother, seeing that you're at the foot of Mount Qingshu, could it be that you're a disciple of the Qingshu temple? But why is your power so low? You haven't even reached the Jin Dan stage." That sturdy young man says with a forced smile, "How could I be qualified to enter the Qingshu temple? I reached the Xiantian stage only because of an incomplete practice technique left behind by my father. Plus, I'm already very old, so no school is willing to accept me." The white-haired old man nods his head and looks approvingly at the sturdy young man before him. "Little brother, your temperament is very good. Since I've eaten your dear thigh, I can't not help you. Take this identity card, then go straight to the Xiang school. Show it to the Xiang school's people and tell them that you want to become a disciple of the Xiang school. The Xiang school will definitely accept you." The sturdy young man is immediately overjoyed. Of course he can tell that this white-haired old man before him is very likely to be a senior of the Xiang school. "Well, this identity card can only let you enter the Xiang school. How about this? I see that you're very happy. When I was practicing in the past, I had a holy weapon. Today I'll give it to you." The white-haired old man says smilingly. At the same time, a light flashes in his hand. This old man is no ordinary person. He is from the Xiang school, an expert of the same generation as Reverend Qi Yang, Reverend Qi Yen. Now he is already a 10th tribulation loose practitioner. There is simply no need to say more about his revered status. "Oh, someone's coming." The white-haired old man casts a glance at Qin Yu. In the air, Qin Yu's heart cannot help jumping. However, at this moment, a vague silhouette appears in an instant. Poof! A hand pierces through the white-haired old man's abdomen. Seeing that blood-red hand come out of the abdomen of the senior before him, the sturdy young man is stunned with fear. That blood-stained hand is grabbing a yuanying. That is Reverend Qi Yan's yuanying. "Wu Hei, you dare to kill me." Reverend Qi Yan's yuanying speaks human language. The attacker is none other than Wu Hei. Grabbing Reverend Qi Yan's yuanying, Wu Hei laughs. "Nonsense, who wouldn't I dare to kill?" The yuanying of a 10th tribulation loose immortal can be considered a great supplement. After saying so, he throws the yuanying into his mouth and swallows it directly with 2 crunching sounds. All this stupefies the sturdy young man. Wu Hei casts a disdainful glance at Qinyu in the distance. The middle Dujia stage is too low. After saying so, he even laughs out loud and says, "The Qingshu temple is as timid as a mouse. Today I'll eat a 10th tribulation loose practitioner's yuanying first. Next time I'll eat an 11th tribulation one, haha." With a movement of his body, he flies into the distance like a black beam of light. Wu Hei is also rampant. Even though he has the power to teleport, he is not teleporting but flying. Obviously, he is giving the opponent a chance to chase after him. "Wu Hei, don't even think about escaping." A furious roar rises from Mount Qingshu. A crimson beam of light rushes down, melting all the snow on Mount Qingshu in its path. But Qinyu, who is watching all this from the horizon, frowns. "What's going on? Why did things develop differently from what I thought? It shouldn't be." Wu Kongxue and Ming Liang should know the secret of the heaven sundering diagram. They shouldn't be so stupid, right? But what's going on with this Wu Hei? You're tuning in to the Whispers of Romance YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.